Hey everyone, welcome to another fabulous episode of the Suzette Speaks Show. I am TV host and attorney Suzette Speaks. It is a beautiful Thursday here in Miami, Florida. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. We're almost there, almost over in the weekend, and I am so excited that I have a special guest today to answer the question, do nice guys really finish last? Better yet, do smart guys really finish last? Well, he is a self-proclaimed nerd who happens to be Black. And I wanted to ask him some questions about his life. And some of us assume a lot about nerds. Some of us maybe are nerds ourselves. And ladies, some of us perhaps never really checked for the nerds until we got a little bit older. And now we're looking high, we're looking low, we're looking left, we're looking right. We're trying to find out where they are. And I really am curious as to how a gentleman like himself has evolved into a man, what his experiences were like coming up high school, college, how often maybe he felt rejection from the opposite sex, perhaps how he's living now, whether the ladies are really checking for him strongly. And I'd also like to explore, some of the dynamics of the dating lives of nerds and blurs in particular. Stand up all my blurs. Where my blurs at? I've always loved a blurred. Just saying. And for me, blurs hold a very special place in my heart. Y'all know what I mean by blurred, right? Right? I hope you guys know. And I'm so, what should I say? Curious about how blurs move in the world, what they do and don't do when it comes to dating. Do they make the first move? Or are we supposed to, come with our like geeky, what should I say, persona? Y'all know how to play it off. Put a little glasses on and ask for help with the homework and whatnot. Can you fix my computer? What are y'all doing with the blurs? That's my questions today. So again, do smart guys finish last? Are folks looking for nerds? Or ladies, are we hopelessly oblivious to the gems that are in front of us each and every day? I want to also ask him, he has a child, he's a dad, and I just want to know where he fits in terms of the landscape of masculinity as well. So if you are curious about the secret lives of Black nerds, this is the show for you. Come on Facebook, come on YouTube, hit the like button. There are many degrees and different presentations of Black masculinity. And we only get to see the tough and the macho, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Shamar Moore and them, and Morris Chestnut, praise God, and them, and Boris Kodjoe. But I guess there are some of them are getting more roles as the doctors, and I guess CSI kind of counts as nerds now, kind of. But everybody's so macho. I think there are very strong and very grounded men who are not necessarily going to karate chop your face, but understand their role in a family, understand their role in a relationship, and want to be, the leaders, ladies, that we talk about, that we desire. So are the nerds really, really being overlooked, as the stereotype sometimes says? Or are they living knee deep in it? I don't know. We're going to ask the nerds. I'm going to drop the link a little later. Let me hurry up and bring them on. Y'all say I long stroke. I'm not long stroking you today. But I really want you guys to participate, especially if you are a Black nerd. For my gentlemen, if you are blurred, this platform loves blurs. So I want to welcome you. And if you want to come up and talk about your life story, your experience, your career trajectory, your dating life, and your worldview, most importantly, I would love to have you up. But before I bring up Better Gents podcast, who is my special guest today. This is, guys, we got to go easy. This is his first one-on-one ever. I'm so excited. He said yes. And we discussed different topics that we wanted to bridge, and we landed here on his life. He's one of the top gentlemen in his industry. We're going to talk about it. We have many Black men who are leaders in tech and engineering and in STEM. And I don't know. I think they get snatched up. We're gonna ask him. I think they get snatched up because I can't find none. Who's coming with me to the Comic Con? Who's ladies? Who's coming? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Always got to be planning for the future. But let's, on a serious note, say hi to the folks. Hey, RM. Good to see you. Maggie, the substitute teacher, say, can't wait for this one. Black Nerds Unite. Veggie, how are you? Good to see you. Put your location in the chat. Maggie on the super chat. Thank you. Bringing you all the tasty, healthy treats. Maggie made a wonderful. I was watching her dessert show last night. A trio that she had, like a charcuterie board, I think she said, of desserts, and I thought it was really beautiful. Shout out to those of us who love the creme brulee. Lead attorney was in the chat. Myself, so many other of her scholars. Of course, she's a substitute teacher. So the scholars were over there, the speakers were over there as well. And I'm happy to see you, Maggie. Thank you for showing love on the super chat. Y'all go over to Maggie's channel and make sure you show some support and subscribe. Kaylin in the building. Links is a blurred. Shout out to Links. Thanks for being here. I didn't even set no reminder. I forgot, y'all. But I might throw something in the community tab real quick to remind everybody. But shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to all of my speakers. Shout out to Ace. I see you. Shout out to who else? DL Saint, Big Bad Bull. I see you. Welcome. Glad to see you, sir. I'm doing well today. Veggie says, rock out to the nerds. We're gonna get into some of them, what should I say? More uncomfortable sides of nerddom. Let's go. Y'all ready to talk about, again, different expressions of masculinity and how people think? I think sometimes people like to see Black men as a monolith and Black people as well. So we are just not. And there are so many degrees, differentiations, experiences that we all have. So we're just going to discuss one today. Want to remind you, Ike Ojemian, I hope I said it right, will be with me next Tuesday talking about how to deal with stress. Y'all ready? I think we need it right about now. The recession's coming, y'all. You ready? I also have Mandrell and Shushu coming up. I am so grateful. I also just booked, I don't know if y'all know her, a lady named Roxy Beckles. I don't know if you guys know her. She is a fitness champ, Miss Olympia, and she's gonna come over to the channel a little bit later this month. I got some stuff lined up for everybody. Let's go. Hit the like button. I want to welcome each and every one of you. If you're my subscriber, you know what your name is. You're my speaker. I want you to speak up, speak out as we discover topics together. I've started an open mic night series. Somebody was like, Sue, what you gonna do with it? I'm gonna play a little bit more with it coming up on Monday. Do you guys want to do an open mic Juneteenth? I was thinking about, I was like, are people going to be out doing Juneteenth stuff? But I do want to make it more hot topics. I was doing current events, but I think it might work better with hot topics. So next up in mic, I'm going to pose a question and see what my speakers have to say. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Andrew, Wagwan, good to see you, my brother. Hello, everyone watching on Facebook as well. Yes, I am speaking up and speaking out for the blurs. Yes, RMB all over these social media streets. Y'all go check out Maggie, the substitute teacher. Thank you. Link said, taking blurred media virginity. You're so Link so made me joke. I have my hot tea here, but I'm excited. Y'all ready to talk to Better Gents podcast? Well, I am. So without further ado, I'm going to let him introduce himself. KL says, shout out to all the Black nerds in the house. Knowledge and wisdom are, of course, beautiful. Absolutely. And people who possess it are powerful to me. Quirkiness is cute. Be confident, be joyful, but stay humble, stay hospitable. That is a wonderful welcome. So without further ado, thanks, KL. I want to bring up my special guest tonight, none other than Better Gents podcast. Hello, my brother.
Hey, how's it going, Suzette?
I'm so excited to have you. How are you doing today? How was your day?
I'm doing well. It was busy. I work 9 to 5 every day, so yeah. But I'm so happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. It's exciting, like you said. This is my first one-on-one on YouTube, so a little bit
I'm
nervous.
glad you said yes. Y'all check out his background. First of all, let's just take a moment and keep it real and enjoy his background. This is like from Jimi Hendrix to the guitar collection. I'm gonna ask you about that. That's so nerd, and I love it. Shout out to Brown Gal Peace Lounge. Yes, yes. RM talking about Suzette speaks better than Booker of SNL. We tried. Thanks to you, RM. Thank you for your suggestions as well. She's everywhere in these YouTube streets, so she also has a bird's eye view. So thank you for your insights. And I got your email. Thank you, by the way. Didn't get to respond. Appreciate you, Brown Gal Peace Lounge. Go check her out for some meditation and some relaxation. Miss Globe Girl, nice to see you, darling. And all those in the chat, shout out to you. Oh, to Chef. Yeah. Oh, they already saying he's a cutie. Okay, so what y'all checking for him now? Let's go. We're gonna find out his status in a moment. But we're also going to, like I said, be curious, ladies and gents, about his life experience. So
Mhm.
let's start with, when did you first realize you were a nerd? Because that too, is that too presumptuous?
No, not
Okay,
at
tell
all.
me tell me when you felt like a nerd. When you
Well,
first felt like a nerd.
I've been a nerd my whole life for the most part. And so, and maybe we should define what it is to
Oh
be a
yes,
nerd.
let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, so to me, a nerd is someone who indulges in a form of entertainment or media that is not widely regarded as sort of normal by the mainstream, right? And so let's
Okay.
unpack that. Let's talk about that a little bit more.
Hmm.
So someone who watches a lot of anime and attends anime conventions and spends a good amount of money or resources, buying anime paraphernalia and knickknacks, that person would be considered an anime nerd. But on the flip side, if you talk about a guy who watches a lot of football, and he spends an inordinate amount of money on football paraphernalia, he's not a nerd. He's more of a fan. So it more has to do with like the way the mainstream sees that media, or that entertainment medium, and if it's regarded highly in the mainstream. And I think nerdy things, for the most part, aren't regarded highly. That's changing. I mean, if we think about it, like gaming, comic books, all that fantasy stuff, it's becoming more and more popular. But at the same time, it's still not at the levels of like, music or like sports or anything like that. So on one hand, you can be a fan and you can still invest the same amount of energy, resources, and time and money into that entertainment medium. But if you do something else that's not highly regarded in the mainstream, then you're a nerd. And so for me, growing up, what made me a nerd, the thing that I put a lot of time into was video games. I started gaming when I was about 4 years old, and I'm an older guy, right? I'm 41 years old. I grew up in the 80s, and
You're not that old, praise be to God, but okay, go ahead.
that's when video games really started to get like I guess popular, or started to make their way into like homes with the early console systems like Coleco and
Not Kaliko.
Atari
Okay,
and
you might be a
whatnot. Yeah, I had a ColecoVision. That was
Kaliko.
that was the first
Jesus.
video game system that I played. My dad had a Coleco, and when I was
No
about 4 years
way.
old, I was like, I want to play that. Let's do it. And so from there, it just like I got every console system that came out, and I got all the popular games. And I was a video game nerd, but I also loved fantasy stuff, right? So I read a lot of fantasy novels. One fantasy novel series in particular was called Lone Wolf. It was like a mix of like novel and choose your own adventure and like Dungeons and Dragons sort of like things as well. Like
Mm,
it was really cool. I thought it was awesome, and I read all the novels. It was kind of like a game in a book, and so I played through all of it. And
mm.
so I've been a nerd my whole life. And I've been head down in my books. I was a good student. I always tested well, even though I was lazy when it came to like homework and like projects. Because I was like, I don't want to do this. I already know it. Like homework and like assignments or reinforcement of the work that you learn in school. I didn't need that. I got it in school. Just give me a test. I'll ace it and I'll move on. So I would focus more on like video games and like the fantasy novels. I read Lord of the Rings when I was like 6 years old.
Oh my
Um,
God. Okay, hold on, hold on. Okay, so you genuinely love learning. Where did you get that from?
that's a good question.
Is
My
your daddy a
mom,
nerd? Or is your mommy?
no, absolutely not, absolutely not. And my parents split up when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I really got anything from my dad, unfortunately, except maybe my work ethic.
Mhm.
My mom, really intelligent woman.
Mhm.
She's got a master's degree in education. She's a smart lady. She works really hard. But for me, maybe it was like an escape. Maybe it was maybe I just wanted to
From
get
whatever was
away
going on around you.
in
Okay,
my
interesting.
household. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Mhm.
So they say Ace Butterfly say Better Gents is a neo soul blurred. Okay, we'll take it. I think that's a compliment.
I've never heard that
I
before.
love
Okay.
it. Ace Butterfly has no chill. I love it. Ode to Chef Welcome says how he a nerd with a pierced nose. I'm calling Cap.
I
Is your
actually
nose pierced?
It is, on this
I didn't
side.
even see that. Good
I actually
eye,
had
Ode to
I had a
Chef.
couple of other piercings. I got rid of them to work in, like, corporate America. I used to have my labrae and then
Uh
my
oh.
eyebrow pierced, but,
Not the edgy nerd. I like it.
yeah, we're not all
Gail,
the same. I mean, nerds are not a monolith, just like black people, like you said, we're not a monolith. Nerds are not
yes.
all the same. Like, the thing that makes you a nerd is very unique to each nerd. You could be a
Uh-huh.
comic book nerd, you could be an anime nerd, you could be
Mhm.
a Dungeons and Dragons nerd. You could be, it's different for all of us. And I remember when this subject came up in one of your live streams, someone said, "Oh, I don't want to date a nerd because I don't want to talk about anime all day." And I'm like, well, we don't all like anime.
Come
Some of
on,
us,
right?
like different. We like sci-fi. We like Star Wars, whatever. So, what it is that makes you a nerd, that entertainment medium that you gravitate to can be
Mhm.
different for each of us. But the thing is, we gravitate to something that isn't highly regarded in the mainstream, and that's what makes us a nerd.
Gail, thank you. My sister Gail recently got monetized. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you, Gail. Whenever you celebrate, I'll be right there with you. She was my first moderator, now content creator, and just a superb lady all around. Thank you, Gail, showing love with the super sticker. And like I said, I am just proud of seeing so many of us climb this YouTube ladder slowly but
Mhm.
surely. But congratulations, darling, on getting monetized. I have to read some of these comments to what you just said, sir, not to
Sure.
break your break your train of thought. Um, because the chat is undefeated. But yeah, smart. But Maggie, the substitute teacher, says smart but lazy kids. Oh my gosh, that was my brother. Oh my gosh. Our parents' nightmare. Any tips? We'll could definitely come through for that. Link says, better gents, let me know. I can hook you up with the entire Jimi Hendrix catalog. Okay.
Awesome.
Nerds Uniting over here on the Suzette Speaks Show. If you are just joining, I want to welcome you. I'm Suzette Speaks. Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy great conversations because we like to get to know new folks, new ways of thinking, and hopefully learn about ourselves in the process. So I want to welcome for the first time to the Suzette Speaks Show as an exclusive guest, Better Gents Podcast. Go please check out his channel. He definitely chops it up with a couple of other guys. And what do you guys talk about, first of all, on your channel?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So, yeah, we're the Better Gents podcast, and it's four of us. Some of my oldest friends, we got together and we're like, listen, let's just we want to talk about stuff. Let's do a podcast and put our message out there. So it's me, my buddy David, Tom, and John, and yeah, we just talk about various things from religion to marriage, dating, to being a father. And so we're new. We've only been doing this for a few months, so we're very new. But yeah, check us out. I
All
mean,
right, better
we
chance.
don't do the live stream stuff, not yet.
Okay.
We
But
record
so
in the
it's a real
studio.
podcast. You record and just put up. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well, I'm proud of you. Anybody who knows what it takes firsthand to be a content creator just knows that there is there got to be a passion for it.
oh
And I
yeah.
think I share that in terms of wanting to stimulate conversation among people and hopefully enlighten them, make them better in the process. So I want to welcome again Better Gents Podcast. Please go check out the Better Gents Podcast and like and subscribe, y'all. If you are not subscribed here or there, please do both. And as he was saying, what makes a nerd is, and I saw a question about is what's the difference between a blurred and a mainstream nerd? I don't know. We could go back to that, but first of all, setting our framework through defining how we define nerd is specific and unique, as he's describing, like of something outside of the mainstream.
Mhm.
So nerds have different what should I say, indulgences where you can be a nerd who likes, like you said, gaming, a nerd who likes you name it, and it doesn't necessarily all fit in one category of nerd. You can have a piercing or two and be a nerd. You can also were you a cool kid in like high school as a nerd?
Oh, never. I was never the cool kid. I've
No, okay. So
never.
I was trying to see what where how far we was gonna go with this, but okay.
Yeah.
What was your high
No,
school experience like?
oh, so my high school experience was a little different than most. I actually went to. It wasn't a boarding school, but it was kind of a boarding school.
Okay.
So it was a program that was run by Oprah Winfrey, called the ABC program. So a
Oh
better chance
wow.
is what it stood for. And so basically, what they did was they took kids from the inner city and sort of moved them to a suburban area that had a really good education system, right? So they would set up like a boarding house, and in my case, in the case of the school that I went to, they set up a boarding house, and there was 8 of us. So 8 of us,
Mhm.
and most of us were from like inner city New York. There was like one or two. One guy was from a rough area in Connecticut, and then another guy was from like I think he was from like California.
How did you get
But
selected from this? You apply? Your parents put you in it? What happened?
my my mom applied for me. I had to take a test, and I had
Oh,
to
okay.
pass the test to get selected. So I passed the test, I got selected, and basically they moved us into this boarding house. It was just a house, and we stayed there during the school year, and we
Wow.
attended this school in this area that had a really good education system.
Mhm.
And so we would go home like 1 week in a month. We would go home, and then for the summer, obviously, and for like the holidays and whatnot, we would go home. But then they also set us up with what was called like host parents, which I thought was weird. So they set up these host parents who, on the weekends, the other 3 weekends of the month,
Mhm.
we would stay with these host parents. So these would be people in that particular area who kind of like I wouldn't say adopted us, but like
Like a almost like a foreign exchange, but like
oh,
from the hood
exactly.
to the suburbs almost.
Right. So I grew up in
What?
Brooklyn, New York. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York in
Okay,
the
BK.
80s.
All right, all right,
Right,
all
right.
right.
So
Mhm.
I'm from the hood, and I've lived in some of the worst places in Brooklyn, New York. And let me
Wow.
tell you,
Mm.
my upbringing wasn't great at all. I think the first 14 years of my life before I went to this boarding program, we moved like 7 times, 7 or 8 times to different
Wow.
places, and not because like for work or for like military, but because my parents were a little irresponsible, and
Oh.
we would get kicked out of places. We couldn't keep up with the rent, and so we would have to move. And I've lived in some of the worst areas. I mean, like roach infested, rat infested. I lived in the Fort Greene projects. There were nights I would wake up. I would be sharing a bed with like my stepbrother, and I would wake up and I would see a roach crawl over him, and I would be so tired that I would just go to bed and like ignore it. And just that's the kind of lifestyle I had growing up. So when my mom got me into this program, she was like, "You're going. You're going. You're gonna live in Connecticut. You're gonna go to school. You're gonna get a great education." I hated it when I first got there because I didn't
Mm.
fit in. I never fit in anywhere. But now I go from being surrounded by 99% black folks in Brooklyn, New York, to being surrounded by 99% white folks in Connecticut, and I didn't know how to handle it. And my first year there was I was miserable, and I rebelled. I refused to make friends. I was like, you know what, this isn't for me. And my mom was like, nope, you're staying. You're gonna do what you got to do. And she was right. I stayed. I got a great education. I ended up going to a really good university. I went to Boston University, and I studied computer science there. And that's really what led me to where I am now. But going back to high school and what my experience was like there, um, yeah, it wasn't the greatest because I just didn't fit in. I didn't want to be there. But so my last 2 years of high school, I kinda just let things go, and, like, I just let all that, like, like, not indifference, but I let whatever it
Frustration or
was.
pain or what you
Exactly,
felt.
whatever it was that was holding me back, I let it go, and I
Angst, I
started.
think is what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I started to make really good friends, and I started to make really good nerdy friends, right? That's when I started to play Magic: The Gathering. I mean, that's super nerdy, but I
I
love
don't
that
even know what
game.
that is. Magic the
It's
Gathering. I don't
it's
know.
a card game, and it's very nerdy, and, one of the kids at that school, white guy, he introduced me to the game. I was like, "God, dude, I love this game. Like, let's play more. And so he taught me the fundamentals of it. He taught me the advanced skills of it. And so from that, I started to make more and more friends. And I noticed that all my friends, what we had in common was that they weren't jocks. You know, they weren't the cool kids. They were the nerds. And that's where I fit in.
Hold on,
And so
hold on. Let me put a one in the chat if you know what he's talking about. What is Magic the what is it?
Magic the Gathering.
And just real quick, what is that game about?
It's a card game and it's a fantasy card game, and basically you play against another player and you try to
Okay,
defeat the other player by summoning creatures, these fantasy creatures. It could be like dragons or unicorns or knights, and you summon them and you attack the player. And if you
Magic the
know,
was I don't even know what that is. Let me see if there's any ones.
I'm telling
Anybody
you,
know what that is? Does
they
anyone know
know.
what that is?
Any nerds in the chat, they definitely
Okay, I don't know what that
it's
is. I don't know
huge.
what that is. Okay,
Back in the 90s, it was huge. I mean, there were tournaments for it where people were winning thousands of
sorry.
dollars for it. You know,
Oh my goodness. Sorry. Fell. Andrew, Tim on the super chat. Hey, hey, thank you. He says the nerd herd is real. We keep it moving. I am admiring your story, sir, because in your circumstances, which it sounds like not only were there difficulties with your parents not being together in that relationship, but obviously economic
hmm
difficulties because of irresponsibility,
hmm
that could break a person. So for you to go from there to, you said Boston University.
for Brooklyn to Connecticut to Boston University. Yeah.
So do you think it was that exposure through the ABC program that just totally changed your trajectory?
Yes,
Mm,
I do. I think that was a turning point for me.
yes.
Absolutely, to get out of that, and that's the whole purpose of the program is to take they take people who they feel like have, I guess, potential, and
Right.
they move them into an environment that's more conducive to learning, right? So had I
Yeah.
stayed in Brooklyn, which is what I wanted to do, I don't think my
Your
life would
life
have
might have
turned
been
out
so different. Oh my God.
exactly,
Talk
exactly.
about exposure. I think the same thing. When I went to school, I was bused to a magnet school,
Mm,
and it's the same thing. I think being around children that come from the burbs give you a whole different perspective of life from where you come from. And I wasn't raised, and I wouldn't consider the hood. I didn't think we were poor. We had very good values. We weren't the richest people, but I would call it working class, I guess. Immigrant community actually was kind of mixed at the time. Older
mm,
white retirees, and then younger Black immigrant families kind of moving together as the neighborhood was changing. And economically, we'd be on a map as poorer, but I think, like, again, value system in the neighborhood was kind of still intact. Families were
right.
very much intact. So yeah, going to school with a lot of other kind of middle, like, I'm solidly middle class people, opens your mind up to, damn, people are living way different than how I'm living. People are having the first, when I knew it was differences, is the first time in sixth grade I went at a sleepover to a friend's houseboat, and
Wow.
her parents lived, they lived on a boat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I'm the only Black girl there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we sleeping on the boat. Oh, y'all
Yep.
live on the boat. Oh, okay. Okay. There are rooms here. Okay. It was eye opening. So I can imagine that same impact of you getting to kind of step outside of that hardcore, really challenge, like we say economically challenged, but it doesn't even capture, I'm sure, what your life was like.
Sure.
So you get exposure, you get an adopted family, so to speak, host family. So was that program like a 4-year program, you say?
Yeah, it was all through high school,
So,
and
and you lived away from your environment.
I did. So we lived there. And like I
Wow.
said, we would stay there. We would go home like one weekend a month, right? The other
This
weekends
is
we would
like
stay.
foreign exchange.
It
I'm
is
like,
foreign exchange.
damn,
It is. But
in America.
luckily I was close enough. I just take the Metro North from Connecticut to New York, and I would be home in like, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, but I was so rebellious against it
Thank
the
you.
beginning that my
Mhm.
first host family dropped me. They were like,
Uh-oh.
we can't handle this guy.
So
We don't
you
want
had a
this guy.
lot of anger and a lot of frustration, angst, pain,
I
maybe even
did.
trauma
I
from
did.
what you described. Brown Gal Peace Lounge says BK. Links at BK represent. Yeah, there's a lot of pain a lot of people deal with, and especially teenagers who don't have language, who don't have ways to express it. I can imagine the difficulty, but they stuck with you. Is
Mhm.
that program still around? Do you know?
It probably is. I wouldn't think it would go away. Yeah, it's,
That's
like I said,
really cool.
Oprah was running that, and
They
they had chapters all over the United States, so yeah, it's probably still
So,
around.
and then again, I ask again. So, Brown Gal Peace Lounge says, but the Brooklyn in you never leaves. It's in your
Never,
blood. And
never.
Ace asks, was Better Gents High School therefore mixed or predominantly black?
No, this high school was like 98 or 99% white. It was
Yeah. So when he
like
got,
I was like one of 8 black people, and there was like maybe 3 Asian people and like 4 Hispanic people. Like it was a very non-diverse environment.
Chicago Real Estate Revenge of the Nerds. Uh, wow.
Chicago,
Kids,
really. I'm a fan, dude. I'm a big fan.
You got a new sub, Danny G. Okay, Donnie Martin knows what that was. I didn't know what it was. Definitely a nerd game. Okay, y'all know what's up. I'm like, Space, me too, TTO. I'm like, what are they talking about? No idea. Says, okay, it's not just me. Fantastic. Okay, now I love, like, what are you talking about? Okay, cool. But we want to big up Better Gents for just expressing his, personal journey and allowing us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of the making
Mhm.
of the a black nerd, which I love. Yes, Brown Gal Peace Line. I thought, throw me some Uno and let's go. Links asks, do you think that more black boys would be open to their acceptance of being nerds if it was more socially acceptable in our community? What do you think about that? Were you ah? This is kind of my experience. I was like really suburby in school, and then I came back and was like, "Hey, guy, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?" Like
Yeah, yeah.
Miami. Like,
Well, that's
did
a
you code switch like that, or did you have to like come back that 1 week of the month and just be a different person, or what was it like for you?
so I think I was always who I am, or who I was. But
Spoke the
eh,
same, moved the same, like that?
for the most part, but you know what? That brings up a good point. Why is it not socially acceptable in our community? What is it about our community that doesn't accept the nerdy things? And I had this conversation recently with another podcaster called We Need to Talk. What a phenomenal podcaster! He does great work. And you know what? We broke it down, and he said something along the lines, or he asked the question, why is it that black folks will be quick to throw a barbecue or a block party for the dude who gets home from jail, but the guy who gets home from graduating from college, it's like, it is what it is. Nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought to myself, I was like, yeah, you know what? You have a good point. And the reason behind it, or what I believe is behind that, I think our people, our black people, prioritize being cool over being smart and successful. And so, there was a quote that stood out to me. There was a old movie called "White Men Can't Jump" with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Woody Harrelson, he criticized Wesley Snipes. He said, "Listen, for whatever reason," he said, black people on the the court. This movie was about 2-on-2, like
We know
street
White
ball.
Man Can't Jump. I think
Yeah,
most
yeah.
people, if you were 80s babies, 90s baby, you know that movie. But go ahead. Mm.
Right. So Woody Harrelson said, black men want to win. Sorry, they want to look good first, win second, whereas white men want to win first, look good second. And I think that has to do a lot with why nerdy things aren't accepted in our community, right? Because you got to look, it's not cool. It's never been cool to do the nerdy things. So you got to look cool first. It's a little bit of style over substance, in my opinion.
Oh, you're gonna have to you're gonna light a fire in this chat with that, because
Hey,
I don't know. There's some pushback I have to that.
okay, no, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Again, we're not a monolith.
Mhm.
So not every
True.
black community, not every black person, but I understand you're saying in general.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't when we drop the link, I want my speakers to address
Okay.
that. And okay, thank you. OG Amen. OG Amen. I have to get it right before he comes on Tuesday. Yes, we playing Monopoly, we playing dominoes, we playing all kinds of games. And I'm thinking about, because I had to code switch from my classroom to the lunch table.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? My friends who were at the lunch table were predominantly black girls, and the people who I just left the classroom with were predominantly white, children. So from my experience was very different.
Sure.
To be able to live and not get beat up. Mm-mm. Like literally from my doorway of "Thank you, ma'am" to "Hey, what y'all doing? What y'all" like that was the code switch. It wasn't even a
Right.
game. It was survival.
Mhm.
So interesting. We could talk about that a little bit later, but we're here talking about the secret lives of Black nerds. I hope this earring does not fall out again, but it might. Thank you so much. I see you, Sir Harold Speaks. Thank you so much for your feedback, Miss AKA Lady Wagwan. Good to see you, girl. I'm appreciative of the candor of Better Gents podcast, letting us into his life journey. I want to get into your college career and your work career before we get into a little bit like dating and stuff. So, real
Mm.
quick, tell people about your career path, because if you go from, like I say, BK to Boston,
Yeah.
that's a huge leap. Thank goodness. Sounds like this program, like I said, exposure over everything for children. Hello, because even my cousin, oh, she and I were going back and forth. She was like, "Well, doesn't matter how smart. It doesn't matter what program the kids are. If they're smart, they're smart." And I couldn't even push back. I wanted to say, "My love, doesn't go like that. No, the exposure to be the smartest at the bottom is way different to be the smartest at the top. But
Very
that's a whole
true.
nother conversation. So you got to be the smartest at the top is really what it sounds like. Where a lot of people again don't understand that the school system in America is very stratified, and people don't have the same experience depending on what school they go to. So you could be the A student in the hood and not know anything, you know?
Right. Right.
So thank God for exposure. You get out, you go to Boston, and tell me about your college career. Did you pick a major right away? Was it like the same friends that you took from high school to college with you? And then were you dating predominantly white chicks, honestly, because of your surroundings being like 98% white in high
Hmm.
school and then in college? So let's start with, I guess, picking a major and finding your tribe in college.
That's a good question. Yeah. So when I went to college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to travel the world. So the first major that I picked was like archaeology because I was like,
Oh,
oh, yeah,
really?
yeah. I was
Oh,
like, I
cool.
thought I was very like a romantic guy. I was like, oh, I'll get to travel and like experience different cultures and whatnot. But then I started to study it and I realized how utterly boring archaeology is. Like, it's nothing like you read in the novels or you see in the movies. It's completely boring. And I changed my mind and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So what is it that I can do that it kind of clicked with me my entire life? Well, I've always been like a tech guy. Like I said, I play video games, and I've always connected with technology. So I went into computer science, and that made more sense for me, and that's what I focused on. But dating in college, no, I dated predominantly black women, because that's even though I went to high school in a predominantly white environment,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't date really in high school. I think I had maybe 2
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends throughout
Mm-hmm.
high school, and they didn't last very long because I I didn't feel like I had anything in common with them at that point.
Oh,
It was 2 white.
did you have a date to like homecoming and the prom?
I did have a date to homecoming, and it was it was an Asian girl. First time I ever.
Minorities unite. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. But it wasn't like anything like serious. It was I think it was more she wanted to go to the senior prom, and I was
I was
like, all right,
friends.
let's
It was
yeah,
friends.
whatever. We were friends.
Okay, cool.
She was a very
So
cool,
you
very
weren't
attractive girl.
really, turned into your, hormones moving man until like college.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, like I said, I still got to go back to my neighborhood in Brooklyn throughout high school, and so the girls that most of the girls that I
I
dated,
need an
they were
around the way girl.
exactly they were back home.
Oh,
You know, I'd hook up with girls in the summer. And then I go back to high school, and then it'd be like, I'd focus on my studies.
So hold on. Sorry, correct the record. Better Gents podcast was getting it in. Let's go. However,
Um, well, let me say, girls have been nicer to me than I deserve my entire life. You know what I'm saying?
oh my
Like,
gosh. So wait
um,
a minute. So were they digging? So was the chicks from round the way digging the nerdiness,
that's
the proper talk and
that's a good
the
question.
suburban swag?
I think it
Were
was
girls from the hood wanting that?
I think it was more my hobbies. So when I was a teen in Brooklyn in high school, I was a DJ, right? Hence the vinyl records, the love for music.
Oh, y'all, he
I
different.
started
He different.
I
He different. I got
exactly.
it. I get it now.
I started DJing and like, block parties and backyard parties. And so I think maybe that's what they were attracted to. So I didn't have to lead. with, "Hey, I'm a nerd, and this is what I do in my spare time. You know, I play video games and Magic the Gathering." They saw what I did, you know, from a music standpoint, and I had, you know, I had friends, I had good friends. They were, you know, not nerds, not nerd friends, so I was lucky in that regard. And so, you know, I did better with women than I probably should have when I was younger. And so when I went to college, I predominantly dated black girls. Uh,
Ah.
I lost my virginity the first year of college to a black girl.
Oh Lord. All right.
Yeah,
We getting deep,
18,
y'all.
real
Okay. All
deep.
right. I didn't want to peel back the onion, but I was curious. So thank you for
Yeah.
being open. Yes, he's talking about Miss Glove Girl talking about as he strokes his beard. I love it. A cool guy that's into nerdy stuff. I think I like that, Miss AKA, because I think he bridges like both. Because you are not as nerdy as some nerds I know. Your cool quotient, if I may, is a little bit more kind of on the higher end. But yes, if you were a DJ, see Andre, you were a DJ, you wasn't that much of a nerd. So I think you had swag or have swag, so that puts you in a kind of quasi nerd. I like Miss AKA lady's characterization the best. Yeah, so I get it. So he got kind of the best of both worlds, guys. He had the smarts and the ability and the aptitude, also mixed with the environment that allow him to kind of like explore and become aware of some of these different ways of thinking.
Mhm.
But he also had kind of that down to earth back home swag. So I think there was a good mix. Am I putting you in the right category? Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I'm
No,
getting
no.
from the conversation.
I think you're accurate, but I do think I definitely leaned more to the nerdy side for sure.
Oh my gosh,
I
the
mean,
myth has
the
been
fact that nobody
broken.
knows what Magic the Gathering is,
I don't know
but
what I'm
I
still.
had thousands of cards of
No.
Magic the Gathering, like thousands. And I could play that. I would play that game today if I could, if I knew some people who played it. I mean,
Yeah, so he got nerdy tendencies for real. No, he's definitely nerdy.
yeah.
But I'm definitely like, okay, I did not know any of that. Jack the voice says, I'm a black nerd that grew up around thugs, both black and white. I
Switch.
switched better than a big. I wouldn't say that, but I code switched like a month. I had to. My
Mhm,
experiences from even one location in the school to another were completely different. And the expectation, I don't know, maybe it would be the down south thing versus up north thing. We had different expectations of blackness
mhm.
here. So it was a lot more pressure. And people like, I hid my nerdiness. I was like, okay, I'm smart, but I'm down. I'm double dutching. I'm doing whatever everybody else is doing just so I could stay, cool with everybody. Yes, no. Code switching was survive. I can't even give you the stories from down here.
See, I
It
tried
wasn't.
that. I tried
It's
that.
not.
Then
It was not cool to be from the Caribbean here. It was not
yeah.
cool. That Lauren Hill brought that and the Fugees, but before people used to get beat up all the
Mhm,
time. That was oh my god, that was normal for
mhm.
people from Haitians to Jamaicans. Like it was not. People try to blend in as much as they can. What's the word? Clam. Oh god, I can't think of the word. Oh my gosh. But we assimilated as much as possible. That was our experience. Yes. Let's see. Miss AKA lady says, I believe black folks are afraid of a man doing anything that is perceived to be weak. I think that's another cultural tie back to slavery. Interesting. I do agree with DL. We don't value no DL, I read that wrong. We don't value education in our world. It's a shame. I think many black people I know do, but I understand, especially in like pop culture and what is promoted to us. I don't know if I would always say by us, but to us is not to value education, not to value things that will make us stronger or what should I say, create a just a better foundation for success. I think that is on purpose. But okay, not to digress too much. So we hooking up with the melanated sisters and doing our thing, find our major. So get into computer science. So
Mhm.
when you graduate, do you already have a job kind of thing? Were you a ladies' man on campus kind of thing? What's going on there?
Well, that's where my life gets a little crazy.
Mm.
So when I graduated, I did get a job with the university. working for the computer science department, and it was a
Okay.
decent job. And I stayed in Boston. I had an apartment. And I had some roommates, and we had a great time. And uh, but then I met a girl, and things kind of went, in a different direction. And
Mhm.
I ended up,
My tea? Okay.
yeah, I ended up falling in love, and being the romantic that I was, I I moved to another country to be with this girl, because she was not American, she was Canadian. And I moved there, and I was there for like 7, 8 years. So I spent
Oh my
seven,
gosh.
or I spent almost 8 years in Canada. And 3 of those years we were married. So that's my ex-wife.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
but things didn't work out. But I mean, that
So
kind of
you
goes into,
moved for love. You was 90 Day Fiancé before there was a 90 Day Fiancé.
yeah, I was simping heavy.
You were in sipping, you were in love. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
whole move to another country, lived there, had a child with your ex-wife?
No, no, no. We did not have a child. No,
Okay, and lived in Canada. Okay, cool.
in Canada.
I wanted to ask you about Boston real quick as far
Yeah,
as
yeah.
the dynamics of what I hear. Shout out to Boston
Mhm.
in terms of being a black man in Boston. Did you feel a sense of what should I say? I want to say casual racism or anything like that while you were there?
You know what? I don't know if I'm just oblivious to it,
You
but
didn't feel that way.
I never felt it.
Okay.
Maybe I'm a chameleon who just, just feels
No,
comfortable
you're a nerd.
wherever he is.
You
I'm
are
a
a
nerd.
nerd.
So I never thought to myself like, "Oh, this is weird. This is awkward." I would go to a bar. It'd be an Irish bar. I'd get beers. I get, drinks and listen to the music. And that's another thing. Like I didn't because I didn't like have a specific identity, I guess. I was open to a lot of things.
Hmm.
I could enjoy myself in any situation. If I went to a bar and they weren't playing hip hop or R&B or reggae, and they were playing like, ska or jam band or whatever it was, I'd have a good time. Just give me a drink and let's talk and let's have a good time. And I could talk to anybody. So maybe in that regard, it kind of makes me like a chameleon to to do that. But I never felt discriminated against. There were a couple of times, I'm not gonna lie, where
Yeah, people
someone
being
said something
foolish
that
or
was like,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I never felt like Boston was I didn't belong there. Never felt it.
So, okay, so you're a code switcher too then, to a degree.
Maybe, yeah,
Yeah, I
maybe you're
think
right.
so. Chameleon is probably how you put it. I put it as code switching.
Code switcher,
But I
okay.
hear you.
I never thought
Um,
about that, but yeah,
yeah, so you got along, get along, you can kind of blend into any crowd, find commonality with you and the next human being, and you just
sure,
living your life. I get it.
yeah.
I get it. So married, left the country, came back. So as a divorcee, what was life like? Were you able to kind of what was that in the 2000s then? 2010s?
So I graduated high school in 1999, went to Boston University, and I left Boston in 2005. Went to Canada, stayed there till I think it was like 20. I've been in Florida for about 10 years now, so around 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I kind of just been, but I'm settled here now in Florida. This is where I live. My family's here. So it's
So
it's
let me
been a
ask you
while.
about that. So you went through a whole phase after you got divorced?
Did I
Let's
go
just
through
keep
a
it
whole
real.
phase? I did, absolutely. No, you're absolutely right.
Okay. So
So
ladies,
so
if we don't learn nothing from the Suzette Speaks show, just know soon as a man is divorced, he is not looking for something serious, especially in those first few years. Oh
mhm.
my goodness. That's the let me realize the man I am. May
No,
I characterize it that way? Is that accurate?
absolutely. So yes, I got divorced in my early 30s, and at that point it was just like going out all the time and like trying to hook up with girls and like looking for girls. That was the priority. That was my
Mm,
priority in life, was like, can I get a girl? Can I get multiple girls? Like, and now I think back at it, I'm like, wow, what a waste of time. I could
I
have done so
know.
many more
Oh.
um beneficial things with my time in my early 30s. And it's just
And the
wasted. It's gone.
chase, the
Yeah,
inevitable chase
the
that
chase,
people think is so
it's a waste.
important. Yeah, but people don't realize it until they get older and they wasted that time. Link says Canada, specifically Toronto, is a swirl capital of the world, very
Mhm.
accepting of other cultures. Ace asked, Was your wife black? Can you answer that, or do you feel
There we
comfortable
go.
answering?
Here we go. No, she was not. She was a
Oh,
white
okay.
woman. Hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. So we got the facts. Thank you for spilling the tea. We're good.
Yeah.
So, as do you feel like people still perceive you as a nerd?
Oh, I'm definitely still a nerd. I mean, look at my surroundings. Like
No, I
my
love
career.
the eclectic stuff. I would call that almost just eclectic. I don't know if I would call it nerdy now. Would you still
Okay.
so are you okay, besides the card game that no one has heard of, what other as an adult now, grown man, what nerdy indulgences do you have now?
So, I would say it's transcended or my career is what defines me as a nerd at this point, right? So I'm an
Mm,
information security engineer.
mm.
And so, people hear
Explain what
information
that mean. Go ahead, go ahead, go
exactly.
ahead.
People hear information security engineer and they think IT. And we do there are some things in common with IT, but at the core of IT, the focus is a computer, right? So the computer is the focus of IT, and you deal with all of the things attached to a computer, the peripherals, the software that gets installed on a computer, and to a certain degree, the network that computer sits on as well. So that is kind of the focus of IT. But for information security, the focus is data, right? So we are charged with securing and protecting digital data, right? So if you think about like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, before the internet, before servers, before the cloud, before any of that stuff, every person's information, whether it was like your healthcare information, um, your uh, your banking information, whatever it wasn't digital. It was on a piece of paper, and that is a physical medium, right? So that paper was stored in a file system, and that was secured by a physical means. There's a lock on the file cabinet. There's a room with walls and a door that has a lock, and so that's how you secured people's information 30 years ago. But today, the majority of our information is digital, and that's going to be the wave of the and it's going to continue. It's never going to change, right? It's all going to be digital. So how do you secure digital information? And that is what my focus is on my career, right? And so we've got a couple of or a few major tenants that sort of create the umbrella of information security, right? So you got confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? So with confidentiality, you want to make sure that data is only accessible by the people who need access to it, right? Could you imagine if everyone had access to your banking information or to your healthcare records? That would be a disaster. So confidentiality is one tenet. Then you have integrity, right? So you want to make sure that that data is not changed or manipulated in any way. It's got to be accurate. If someone could change your banking records, that wouldn't be good for anyone. So integrity is very important. And then availability. You want to make sure that users and consumers have access to the data when they need access to the data. Could you imagine if you logged into whatever it was, your healthcare account, and you couldn't see your records? Like that's so those three fundamentals make up the primary tenets of information security. And everything else that we do falls underneath one of those three tenets. And so my focus has been for the last 10 years. I've been in this industry for 10 years. Has been privileged access management, right? And that falls under confidentiality. That is ensuring that only the necessary individuals have access to the data that they should have access to, and protecting that data and making sure that the credentials that are used to access that data are secure. And so, yeah, that's what I do. That's the focus.
Wow, wow. And you are one of the top people in your industry.
From a pay scale rate, yes. There are
That's
people
the
in my industry. There are people in my industry that are way smarter than I am. But I've been doing it for so long and I've specialized so well. Specialization is very important, right?
Mhm.
So when you say you're an IT guy, that's kind of a broad thing. And even when you get certain certifications in information security, like your CISSP certification, that's a mile wide and an inch deep. It doesn't focus on anything specific within those three tenets of information security. You need to
Mhm.
specialize. And I've specialized to the point where I can kind of demand, certain wages. I can demand, a pay scale, because I know my stuff, and I've been doing it for so long, and I've specialized in a specific, a field or a specific use case where organizations are nowadays they want someone who's specialized. They don't want someone who has a broad knowledge of IT. They want people who specialize. So if you're going to get into information security, even if you're going to get into IT or cybersecurity, pick an application, pick a technology, and specialize in it. Get your certifications, become indispensable to that company, and then you
Hmm.
can demand, your pay rate. You can make a lot of money in this field for sure.
Wow, Veggie says interesting interview. Yes, hey, all right. I'm talking about Ace Butterfly. Stay being a detective. She asks good questions, though. I'm not gonna lie. Wow. They want to pick your brain. There's a lot of folks that like, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Ode to Chef said, I just had training on this. Hey, Mona D, great to see you. Glad you're here. He says, Better Gents podcast, happy loss at accessing data. Okay, we get it. Man is very smart, brilliant, in fact. Sharing with us, and I just dropped the link. Let me add it to the chat. So if you have questions for Better Gents podcast, I love your complexity because again, no two nerds are created equal, and I want to find out. And I guess there's this saying that everyone kind of takes for granted. Good guys, finish last, or and I don't want to say every nerd is a good guy, but I think the tendency is to assume that they
Sure.
are, as you say, or for yourself, you described yourself as a romantic or a little bit of the softer side, and um, maybe just more. What should I say? In tune with who they are and just new and interesting things about others, and maybe even about relationships. Do you think being a nerd impacted how you approached relationships? And I
Oh
think you
yeah.
mentioned with your wife, your ex-wife, but
Yeah.
explain how being a nerd kind of influenced how you dated or type of relationships you had or
So
have.
like I said, I've always been a romantic. And so I've never had the mindset of like a player. Um, because when I was growing up, to my detriment, to be honest, I never really paid attention to what the grown folks were saying. I had my head in my books or in my video games or in, my fantasy novels or whatever, thing I was interested in at the time. And so I never really paid attention to like guys who were spitting game. You know what I'm saying? Like the older dudes on the block who were spitting game, who were educating in a certain way the young folks. I was oblivious to that. And so I never really learned game. I never really became, that player. For me, talking to girls was a little awkward, to be honest. And so um, when I dated with the intention of like I want her to be my girlfriend. I wasn't, playing the field. I wasn't trying to like get as many girls as possible. That happened after my first wife. Um, so yes, I think that romanticism and also like the things that I was into, the fantasy stuff, like it's very romantic, and so that romanticism played a huge part into how I approached women, and so I was very much like, I never thought about like having multiple girls. How can I how can I finesse a girl and get another
Hold
girl?
on,
For
not the
me,
finesse. Let me get back on the screen.
well,
Not the finesse. Not the
not well,
finesse.
not the finesse, but
Jesus
I never
Lord.
thought about that, which is why when I met this girl in college and we had so much in common and we clicked, I was willing to give up everything to move to be with her, right?
Mm.
I gave
And
up
you
every I
regret that? No, you regret that?
do I regret it? It's a good question. My mindset is completely different now. So
So
the
it's like
current
who you were then, you couldn't be that now. I mean,
no,
you're not
absolutely.
that now. I understand what you're
I
saying.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could.
Mm.
I'm unfortunately for me, or I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's not unfortunate. I'm thoroughly in the manosphere at this point. I'm thoroughly red pilled. And
Mm-mm,
so
you
I
out here
can.
chopping heads, taking names. Woo!
Well, no, I'm not doing that. But I can look back and see the mistakes that I made, based
Mm.
off of like illogical decisions and just not being in my masculine frame, as they say, and just
You didn't learn
so
that. Plus, you didn't grow up with your daddy. I don't mean
I
it
did
in a
not.
offensive way. I just
No, I
mean
did
it's an
not.
observational way. Please
That's
understand.
a good point. Yeah.
So then learning some of that game, if you will, how to deal with women
Mm,
and things didn't come firsthand from a father figure.
mhm.
So you learned it later. I understand that. I can
Yep.
hear that. Rosalind Renson, good to see you, says, we nerds shall inherit the earth. I love it. James, nice to see you. Glad you're over here. Say hello to the missus. I hope you both are watching. Yeah, I
Uncle
love it. Older
Jason.
dudes spitting game. He done got the lessons now. Oh my gosh, I hope the manosphere, I don't know if he's corrupted now, guys. Okay, we'll ask him a little bit more about that. DL Saint has joined the chat in the back. I'll bring you up in just a second, my brother. Manosphere says black women don't like blurs. What is better Jen's thoughts? Is that true? Do you pick, what kind of women are you attracted to now?
That's another topic. That's a good question.
What does that mean? Was another topic. So you don't deal with the ladies, the melanation?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I said before. I think our people as a whole prioritize what's cool over what's smart and successful. And I'm speaking in generalities, right? So I'm not saying that
Mm,
everyone feels the same way. We're not a monolith, but
mm,
I think if we were to, look at like the vast majority of our women, and I say our women because what's cool is really dictated by the women of a certain culture, right? Men do the things that they need to do, especially young men, to
to impress
attract
women. I agree.
women, to
I
impress
agree.
women. So
Mhm.
whatever's cool is decided it's cool because the women think it's cool because that's what the men need to do to attract those women. So, ipso
I agree with
facto,
that. I agree with
yeah,
that.
if we, my point is that because we prioritize cool over smart and successful, I've never really had the greatest success with black women. Um, not, and I'm not.
Sorry, my
It's not a
feelings
pity.
are hurting.
I'm not trying to throw a pity party or anything like that. It's just
No.
I don't want to go through the process of like
Proving your
convincing.
coolness and your swag and your
Well,
hipness.
yeah, just like convincing a black woman that I'm good enough for her. Whereas
Worthy.
women of other cultures don't seem to have a problem seeing that.
That's a whole
It,
nother can of worms, my brother. I want to address that in so many different ways. Oh my gosh. So, would you say you exclusively date non-black women?
no, I'm dating a lovely black woman right now.
Okay, I'm just trying to get the mindset because I feel
Hmm.
like a lot of us maybe would check for you. So I just want to know if it's you not checking for us or you feel genuinely we have a little bit more of a, what should I say, higher bar or maybe even a lower bar. God forgive me.
My preference
Depending on,
is still black women.
okay,
It
your
will
prep.
never
Okay,
not
good
be
to
my
know. All
preference.
right, no judgment. Just want to understand you. I appreciate you. Oh, y'all watching? Have you hit the like button, please? I'm bringing up DL Saint now. I'm enjoying this conversation with Better Gents podcast. He is sharing a little bit about the secret lives of Black nerds. The blurs are in the building. Represent DL. How are you this evening? Thanks for joining us.
My
What's good,
man,
people? How y'all doing?
what's going on?
Fun having a great convo. You know, I enjoy that more than anything.
I
So, what's
know
up?
this.
What
This.
you want to add to this convo? I'm
I,
almost nervous.
no, I mean, it's nothing to be nervous about. I mean,
That red pill strength come through. I don't
Hey,
know. I
you're in
don't
the
know.
hands of. And well, I keep telling you, I'm gonna drag you over here, Suzette, one show at a time. I'm
I
getting you
don't know.
closer and
That hurt my
closer.
feelings sometimes because I'd be like, just let the men be nicer. And but nonetheless,
But
he sounds like
nonetheless,
he's fully red pill, like or got there.
well, I mean,
After a divorce and maybe some other, life changes. But
yes.
what say you about the blurred nation? Are you a blurred?
I didn't know what a blurred was until 40 minutes ago. Thanks to Miss Globe Girl. Shout out. I did not know. Like, what is that? I'm like, oh, black nerd, right? That's what it is. A black
You're
nerd.
blurred,
Okay.
Black
yes.
nerd.
Blurred's been down,
Okay.
yes.
No idea what that was. I know now. Am I? Yeah, I'm a blurred. Look at what I read. You know what I mean? That's Ahsoka. If you haven't read a novel, a graphic novel, or like a Star Wars or Star Trek or Halo or any kind of novel like that, I think if you've done that, I think that makes you a nerd. If you know,
So you
uh,
into the sci-fi or
I
the
love sci-fi.
fantasy or
I'm not
the
a yes, I'm not an anime person. My daughter's anime had to take all of her anime stuff down and put up my stuff now. Like I'm into that sort of thing. Am I a nerd? Yeah, I'm absolutely a nerd. But that's what I wanted to ask. Like, okay, so what is a nerd? Are there different types of nerds and what are they? Like better
apparently there are
gents.
levels. That's
Yeah,
what he's just described because
Okay,
they're all, different. Yay. Oh, she says hi. Thank you, James.
yeah, and Jace
Yo,
Haynes is out
everybody's giving
there.
the claps because he's dating a black woman. Okay,
That's
y'all
funny.
go follow Better Just Podcast. He has some good content over there, him and the guys. Andrew asked, have you ever dated a lady I would you say a lady nerd?
A lady
Is that what
need.
he's trying to say? I don't know what that means, Andrew. Clarify. Need over blurred. I'm assuming he's meaning a lady counterpart. Do you usually track black or just female nerds?
Um, I-
Or is it
you know
opposite
what?
to track?
One of the best relationships I've ever had since my ex-wife was a nerd. Yeah, she was more
Mm,
of a Harry Potter nerd. That's what she was
Jesus.
known for. That's what she was into, and that was one of the best relationships I ever had. So yeah, I would love to because being nerding out on certain things, you have that in common, even if it's not the same thing. And to answer DL's question, a nerd is basically someone who indulges in something, a form of media or entertainment that isn't highly regarded by the mainstream, right? And we talked about this earlier.
Mhm.
Someone who indulges in football is a fan. Someone who indulges in anime is a nerd. And so I can appreciate nerds of all kinds. Like she was a Harry Potter nerd, and I'm a video game nerd to a certain extent. I can't really play video
I'm
games
trying to
anymore because I'm
figure out
just
if I'm a
not.
nerd. I don't know if I'm a nerd.
I mean, but again, so when I was talking to my buddy Jay Swans, he was like, "Well, when you say nerd, we're thinking about the guys with the paper on their glasses, and the high waters, and you shove them
Yeah.
into the lockers. Those
No,
geeky
not that.
dudes.
Nerds have
Yeah, yeah.
changed. Nerds come a long way from that with the big backpack about to
Have they?
struggle and
Have they? I mean, they're still out there, right? You still
okay, we
have them.
still have those who are physically literally awkward nerds who are, maybe are socially awkward. Were you socially awkward growing up in high school, college at all?
I'm socially awkward now, but yeah, I mean, yes, I was very
The
socially
socially
awkward.
awkward DJ? I don't know. I don't
Uh,
know.
I hid, I would hide in plain sight behind things like DJing. Like, okay, I was socially awkward, so I'd be the DJ. No one bothered me, while everyone else was having a good time. I was the guy making the music, so I'd hide in plain sight. That was a trick that I used. But yes, I'm socially awkward now. I've always been socially awkward, and I've been able to kind of hide it, So, um,
Okay, so Andrew was saying a lady, blend, or nerd. So DL, do you consider yourself a nerd now, knowing what it means?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Yeah, I'm always gonna claim that I'm nerd, but I'm also airborne. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
I could
like,
also
don't
be
take away my swag. I get it. I
right.
get.
But I mean, it's part of the swag, right?
I
That's all.
love it.
You're all encompassing. I
Yeah,
can
you
go
are exactly. You're complicated. You're complex. You're
like
multifaceted. I love
you're
it. I get
fun.
it.
And as a stand-up comedian,
That's
I
true
have to
too.
be.
That's true too. Yeah.
I have to be. So if I go into a room that's full of people who just came from Comic Con, I can make them laugh. If I go into a room full of soldiers, I can make them laugh. If it's blue pill, I can make them laugh. Red pill, and so
So
on and
knowing
so
a
on and
lot
so
about
on.
a little or a lot about a lot of different things is
Uh,
important. And just you're curious. I know I'm a curious person. I can tell better Gents is curious as well.
yeah.
So super
So
important. So DL, are you attracted to I can't even read it. Lady blend or nerd?
well, Lady Blend could be a pause. I don't know what we saying. We get
No,
understand
we're
what
not
all this
seeing
stuff.
all kind of lady blend. Y'all better not get me in trouble. Hey
That could
Ebony
be a
X, how
pause,
are
but
you? I see so many of you in the chat. Welcome. Happy that you're here. Please hit the like button. What up, Kimo? How you doing? I'm happy that you could come through, spend some time, chit chat, talk, and understand a little bit more about our brothers, our black nerds. And it sounds like both of you to me again are blends of you have definitely your nerdy side.
well,
Andre says, I'm definitely a game nerd for sure. I'm trying to think, am I a nerd about anything? I
I
like a
mean,
lot of things. And I just
pe-
I think I like learning. Does that make
you
me
Mm.
a learn? I just like learning.
you geek out on history, politics, right? You geek out
Yes.
on that.
I
Sure.
like,
So
so is that nerdy or no?
Well,
that's
the
part of
thing is
geeking.
that it's acceptable. It's
So it's not
regarded.
nerdy. Darn
Right.
it.
It's got to be something that's kind of like,
Yes. Out of
people are going to make fun of you. And you have to spend a significant amount of resources indulging in that. It's not like, Dio, I wouldn't call you a nerd because, dude, you're a boss, man. Like, I wouldn't call you a nerd. If you read a Star Wars book, occasionally you're not a nerd. But if you got all Star Wars like paraphernalia behind you and you go to conventions and you know the history of Star Wars, you know the backstory of all the characters, you're
Ah,
a Star Wars nerd, right?
it
So
takes
you
it to
you
a different
have.
level. Got it.
Exactly. You have nerdiness about you, it to a certain degree, but it's a very small, percentage of who you are. Whereas nerds, that's kind of like what defines them to a certain extent. you know?
Wow, that's a hey. I didn't realize
Woo.
that. So it's
So we
like,
got
man,
nerd tendencies, but we're not nerds, Dio. I don't think we
Exactly.
qualify because I don't have a room full of like stuff that would be like, oh my gosh, I'm freaked out by this or I love this. I don't think shoes count RM. RM. So what about my shoe collection? I don't think that qualifies. Rosalind adds, nerddom has been around forever. When I was younger, smart kids in my hood were looked at as this is the proverbial acting white. Has anyone on this panel been told they were acting white at any time?
Yeah, absolutely. I
I
have
was
been.
told I sound white. Why am I chilling with the white girls? Yeah,
I mean,
I've had that experience. How about you, Dio?
Actually, like 2 days ago.
yeah, I can
Jeez.
remember when I was younger. You get some people who don't know you, be like, "Why you acting white?" And then I gotta go to the principal's office because somebody may or may not have gotten assaulted. I don't know. I don't
You gonna
know.
let them know right away. This is
I
white. Let's go.
like,
No,
yeah.
like I said,
So
I was a heavy code switcher. Had to be. Yes. Shoe complex. But not a blurred. Oh, I don't know if I'm quirky. I like a lot of weird stuff, but I'm just curious. So I'm like DL. I dabble in nerdy things,
Mhm.
but I don't think I'm a fully expressed nerd. I think I like these kind of weird movies or different, just interesting things. I've never been to Comic-Con or anything like that. So I don't think thanks, Ace. I don't think
I
I
have,
fully qualify. You have been to Comic-Con? Now I
yeah.
might go just to see who the dudes are, but
Hey, I
Uh,
was well. I was there. My production company and I were there shooting, and we were trying to sell an idea to Hollywood. This goes into that Hollywood stuff. So we went to Stan Lee's Comic Con in L.A. It was called Stan Lee's Comic Con. I think it's called something else now.
yeah.
It was a great day, even though we were working. It was a great day, and that brings me to the question I wanted to ask,
Okay, go ahead.
brother, better
Mhm,
gents.
yes,
mhm.
sir.
Is there such thing as nerd game
Nerd
Ooh.
game.
when it
Oh,
comes
good
to women?
question.
Like I'm saying, like we red pill over here.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
there?
yeah.
Do you think there's a such a thing as nerd game?
Huh. That is a good question. Maybe that's what I have.
I
Okay.
I think he qualifies for that. I was about to say, if
maybe
he say
maybe I
no,
got a
that's cap. If he say
huh.
no, because he getting girls and he got his little nerdiness about him, and people just like, ew, woo, how you're so weird. How can you
You
say
know
no,
what?
girl? I
You
can
might
see
be
that.
I think if you own it as a nerd, if you own it and you're about it, I think women respect that. You know what I'm saying? And so
Confidence.
yeah, there's a
Confidence.
certain level of nerd game. Yeah, I think you're right, dude. But
Right.
the thing is like nerd game doesn't trump like, G game. You know what I'm saying? Like even if
Depends. It depends on where you are, brother. I'll push back just a little bit. Like in the right circles, if you've mastered nerd game, I'm gonna struggle
mm,
because I
Mm,
don't fit the mold necessarily.
mhm.
Now that 6 feet, six figures, six pack may not serve me well if I'm at Scum and Villainy on Sunset and everyone in there is dressed up as their favorite Star Wars character. They're Jedi's and Mandalorians and all this stuff in there, and I'm wearing a suit or I'm wearing whatever cool clothes I'm wearing for the next spot. I
yeah.
probably won't get on. But if the
Mm.
nerds in there dressed as a cool Jedi or a steampunk stormtrooper, which I have seen, right? That dude getting on.
Yeah. But I think those situations, those environments are rare. They're much rarer than like the normal environment where you're gonna like run game on a chick, right? So the Comic Cons, the conventions, those happen a few times a year. Whereas a G game, dude, you could run that 365 24/7 at any bar, at any so it's a very niche situation where you might get outgamed by a nerd, but 95% of the time, 99% of the time, no, we nerds aren't going to outgame you.
Okay.
Very specific situations.
Suzette, what say you? I'm curious.
Listen, nerds got game. They know what time it is. Because sometimes nerds, let me tell you, ladies, they let people feel sorry for them. This is the first type of game, right? So when you see them and they look like, oh, poor thing. Oh, he's so cute. Oh my gosh. I wonder if he has a girlfriend. He probably never had a girlfriend before. He got gal, he got girls. But men know how to switch it up and play that innocent, oh my gosh, quirky guy. So I do think there's such a thing as nerd game where girls get got because they think the guy is like never ever gonna get someone and they're gonna be quote lucky to have them, the woman. And the guy already has been playing that game and you're on a carousel. I
Mhm.
do think there's also
Su-
nerd game in terms of like I see it in the chat. Chris Johnson is this is one version of it. Nerd game. I'm Bill Gates. I own Microsoft. Okay, you can go. I'll go home with you, says the lady, right? So I do think I have been around nerds in Miami specifically that own like real deal tech companies, like real deal. Chemo said he preferred techie than nerd. And they got swag down here because they got bread.
Mm.
And I'm looking like, oh, let me slide up in here real quick, like, hey.
Well, Sue,
And
they
they
had
are
bread.
looking at me like, oh, you auditioning, and I'm like, oh,
Hey,
oh,
Suzette, they had bread. Crypto is down
oh, right,
60% right
Oh
exactly.
now.
my God.
I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm on the audition. What?
Yeah.
How that
I've lost
happen?
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Exactly. So some of y'all need to slide back into the line, and I'll see you at wherever. But yeah, so I've had that approach where I was like, bro, I'm not even checking for you. I think you're an interesting person, but they'll come off a panel or they'll come off a speech, and it's like, ha 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 ha, I run the world. And it's like, whoa, nerd with ego is ugly.
Mm.
But
any
again,
any
maybe
any guy with ego will be ugly though,
yeah,
wouldn't that be?
it
It's
was
true.
I was shocked. I was like, "Oh, is he getting women like that?" Then he looking down at me like, "Okay, next. Goodbye." So I've had the nerd turn down where I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna need you to calm down because you're gonna find a fly chick with poor morals. Good luck." Um, I've also met what other kind of nerd? I've also met undercover nerd too. Like I think maybe a deal. I guess you might call it like a quasi. They might have played some basketball, but they were on the bench. They might have played like DJ. Sorry if you're bench players, but it's all good. Everybody plays their
Suzette,
role.
I was a starter, baby. I was a starter. You put me on the
But
bench.
it might have been you just had enough athletic ability just to make the team, but nobody really expected much of you.
I
You
was the
were
eighth man.
into
I was the
books.
eighth man. Full
You were
disclosure.
exactly
I
not
came off
six,
the bench.
not the six. You probably made 10, 11, 12, right? But those guys, they kind of did the same thing. Like I'm hearing that Better Gents does, in my opinion. Better Gents, so I'm not judging you, but just a
Oh, you're
person
fine.
with what I know of you, right? Which is can move, can shift from if I'm in an environment, I'm not 100% like awkward nerd that I'm going to, say crazy things or, like faux pas and socially awkward and things. I can be down. I'm cool. I have just a sense of confidence. And I've
Sure.
seen that person, but behind closed doors, if you go to their house, they're like full gaming collection. I'm like, damn, I didn't expect that would be you. Not that it's a disappointment, but more so that it's almost like a camouflage nerd where they're not outwardly showing you that's them, but they have enough swag to draw you. And then you realize, dude, you a nerd. So I've seen different nerd games. That's my experience. I don't know, Dio. What do you think?
Well,
I think nerds can pull women too. That's how I see it.
absolutely. That's why I said this nerd game thing. And I wanted to add a brother better there. Or like for me, I can walk into any room, anywhere on planet Earth,
Mhm.
any scenario with any type of person, any type of culture, and I'm good. I will be able to immediately adjust and do whatever I got to do, be it, getting in with like networking, making a business thing happen, or getting women. So my
What do
question,
you think that came from for you?
oh, it was my upbringing. It was coming up in the hood for me.
Ah,
Now that doesn't mean that you got to come up that way to have that. I know a lot of guys who grew up in a bubble where they had everything and they have that as well.
yeah.
Maybe a little more so, like me on steroids. You know what I mean? But for me, it was just coming up hard, knowing if I don't say something, if I don't get after it, I ain't gonna get it. That was the
Yeah.
only way I was gonna get it. Be it the job, be it the hall pass. You know what I mean? Be it the girl. If I didn't get in there, it wasn't gonna happen. But what I wanted to ask,
Better gents,
better gents,
hmm
do you have that same confidence, or there's some rooms that you are more or less confident in, if that makes sense?
No, I hear what you're saying. I'll be honest. I think the room that I would have the least confidence in would be the most hood room, right? Even though I grew up in Brooklyn and I grew up around hood folks and those were my earliest experiences. I think that would be the room that I have the least confidence, but I still do that.
You're not gonna let no boy punk you.
No, absolutely. I still
No boy can't run up on
dude,
you.
I go
DK,
to
let's go.
yeah, me and my boy, we go to ratchet parties all the time. Like it's all good. You know what I'm saying? I'll walk in there, I'll have a few drinks. Maybe the drinks help.
Oh,
Maybe that helps a little bit. But I think that's the room that I feel less comfortable in. I'll go to a room with like the tech CEOs and the richest white folks on the world. and I will, blend in
Own
and
it.
feel right at home with those guys. I'll
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
to
yeah,
them
yeah.
about technology and so yeah, there are certain rooms that I don't feel as comfortable in,
But you
but
so
I
far
get by.
removed from that, life wise and time wise. You
Sure,
understand? So
sure.
in your upbringing, yeah, you know about that life.
Yeah,
But after a while, years and years of being in corporate spaces and in middle class neighborhoods, you're not going to necessarily, have the same edge, if you
yeah,
will, as when you had to. So yeah, for me, I mean, again, I go to hood. I already know I'm casing the caser. I'm watching you watching me, bruh. Why you watching
right.
me? Like that's how I feel when I'm in anybody's hood, and I'm always feeling like, no, yeah, Ebony, let them know, let them know. Don't let the pearls fool you. Do not let the briefcase fool you. Like where I grew up is again wasn't hard, but we had below us as far as real crazy gangster people. Neighborhoods where people like flipped on, what should I say, throwing out mattresses. Is that too stereotypical? Like that type of hood? Where we're like, pop, pop, and you knew something you had to run. That kind of hood was
Yep.
like not too far. My church was in that hood, right? So you had that experience. You're open, like the same thing, I guess, having that exposure to both was so helpful. So indirectly, it's like you can survive and you can go there, and people always check me because of my look. And they think, who is this? And I'm gonna deal with you straight up. What's up? Let's go. And it's like, oh, okay, all right, okay. No, I'm good with you. I'm not worried about you, sir. I see you. I know exactly who you are.
And
Yeah.
that's why I asked you that question. So
Yeah.
when I was like, "Do you look people in the eye?" Remember, you were like, "Well, why are you asking me?"
Yeah, no, no, no. Oh yes, because even DL did a wonderful show on looking people in the eye. Y'all go check it out. And I just remember, look, okay, he Instagrammed me. So do you do this? And I'm like, oh, you want to know that? That's
Right.
like what you want to know. But no, I am that person. And I think, yeah, again, I think it's just that wide range of exposure from super, super rich kids, middle class kids, like Jewish kids, East Asian kids. Like my school was super mixed. Being in advanced and gifted and being the only black most of the time, understanding what that's like. Then coming on the school bus where it's all black and figuring out how not to get beat up. Like
Mhm.
that, those are all my experiences. And therefore I know how to kind of adapt in that way. Hit the like button, says Simon Hector. Good to see you, bruh. Yes, I could, but I ain't fight nobody. This is what I'm saying. These are the adaptive skills. I knew when girls wanted to fight me, and I'd be like, listen, I didn't do this. I would preempt fights. I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna beat me up. I gotta go to explain what happened. But those are some good negotiating skills, funny enough. I just think all of that you bring with you into the corporate world, or you bring it with you into whatever struggle you're in,
Oh yeah,
and it helps and it allows you to,
absolutely.
to advance. So I was going to ask you, outside of just your what you describe as really advanced specialized knowledge,
Mhm.
how does your nerddom serve you in your life? Obviously, your career.
Yep.
What are some advantages do you feel like you have had since you're a self-described nerd? Some people are now disputing in the comments. They're like, he ain't no nerd, but what
Come on.
advantages do you feel like it has given you in your life?
Probably the biggest advantage is being able to pick up on new concepts really quickly, right? And that definitely helps in the tech space, the information security space, because things move very fast and things change all the time. And also, there's a lot of integrations between different technologies, and you gotta keep up. You got to be able to say, okay, this is how things are going to move forward, and you got to understand that. You got to understand the changes with technology and kind of be proactive with it. So I think being a nerd that nerd curiosity for learning has improved my ability to quickly learn new concepts and apply those new concepts to the things that I'm doing
Mm,
and think ahead and have forward thinking when it comes to technology. Also, reverse engineering is really important. I mean, being able to say, okay, this is where we are today. This is the where we want to be. How do we bridge that gap between those two things? But we got to work from both ends, right? Reverse engineering is a really good skill to pick up. If you know where you want to be and you know where you are, building a bridge from both directions that connects is way easier than building a bridge from one side to the other and just working in one direction. So that's probably the greatest skill that I've learned from
absolutely.
being a nerd is just being able to figure things out and understand things.
I love it. DL, y'all can support with the super chats or with the cash app. We're doing work over here. I hope y'all enjoying the content. Appreciate all those who've already given. I'm especially grateful for Better Gents coming over and stimulating us with a little bit of insights from his journey in life. If y'all are enjoying the content, first and foremost, hit the like button. I think I might do Patreon Saturday. I will not be having a regular show, by the way, Saturday. Next show will be Tuesday. I will be at 2 speaking engagements. I will also be next week emceeing, starting next week, 4 political debates. So I will have copies of those and put them up here, y'all. It's getting to be political season. So you guys know what to do. Hit the like button. But tonight, we are discussing Secret Lives of Black Nerds. I'm grateful that Better Gents is helping me understand. And I want to get back to one thing that Maggie, the substitute teacher, had asked about how to parent nerds. DL, you could add to the advantage question if you feel like, because I don't know if DL, you technically, based on our definition, qualify as nerd.
Y'all kick me out. I'm back in. I'm back in there.
Yeah. Okay, if you want to tell, you want to self-describe, we're gonna say
honorary nerd
it
DL.
is what it, yeah,
All right, cool.
So you can wear your badge of honor, fine. But parenting a black boy, that's a nerd. Can I ask Better Gents, do you feel comfortable sharing whether you have a boy or a girl?
I have a boy.
You have a boy. Is he a
3.5
nerd?
years old.
He's little.
Yeah, he's a little guy, so we don't know yet.
Okay, so still in development. Okay, never mind.
Still in development. Yep.
My 13-year-old is a nerd.
Okay, so I want to ask you like tips about parenting a nerd, because as we're talking about the pop culture, I'm not gonna say every black family, because we got a lot of good black middle class value minded people who do believe in education, who love education, who push education, and all those other things that we equate with, just that middle class mindset. Work hard, be respectful, not know your place, but more so like go for what you want, you belong. And I think there is a shift, maybe it was always there, of understanding that black men can be so many more things than what we're being told they are. But when you feel like, looking back, did your parents or your mom support? Clearly, by sending you away, she supported you. But the question I want to unpack is like, how can we better support young black boys who are nerds? And that's the gist of what I want to get to. And thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you everybody who's here. Hit the like button for me, please. What can we be doing different, both, I guess, macro and micro, in your household or as a society? That's a deep question. I don't know if you could tackle all of that. Go ahead, DL. Go ahead, DL. Go ahead. You can start. Go ahead.
All right. Well, let's start with the parenting part, right? First, I want to say, and all the parents out there who know, and anybody who's thinking about being a parent, there is no book for it, right? You don't know. You do the best you can. You don't know what's gonna happen. You just have to wait and see. So, but the question is, how do you handle that? How do I handle that nerdness in my daughter? I encourage it, because normally when you're talking about that nerd world, it hovers around, it centers around some sort of technology or free thinking, like to create a character in like her VR or all the little details that she's doing. I encourage it. I like it so long as she's doing her schoolwork and she's doing everything else she's supposed to do. I ask my daughter all the time, like she's still young, but I'm like, what do you want to do when you grow up? You're gonna, what are you gonna do to support yourself? How are you gonna buy me a house on the lake? Because every time I buy her something, I'm like, just going on your tab, you got to buy me a house on the lake. And so now she's like, I want to be a Twitch streamer. That's what she wanted to do. Now, my mother and father would have beat me up. Ain't no money in that, boy. Hit you upside the head. You better get back in them books. Me, I'm like, well, what do you know about that?
Yes.
How can you make money off that? Are you good? Are you the best? Who are the best? So now we're talking about it. And guess what? She's going to open up to me and continue to learn from me as to how she could, like, you can do it. Now, dad's doing the work. So, hopefully if I do everything right, she can do whatever she wants to do. There's no real pressure for her to perform, but she doesn't know that. Y'all don't tell her either if y'all meet her. But the thing is this: encourage your children in this nerddom, encourage them, and look at different ways where you can learn. My daughter loves the stars. She's obsessed with black holes.
So I love astrology. I loved all of that.
So we can sit down and watch. Hey, sit down, watch this with me. Did you know this about black
Greek
holes?
mythology too?
Yeah.
That? No.
Well, she not yet, but
Okay.
we can do these things together, and
Mm.
it just leads to these different paths. And I'm just, as a parent, I'm more of a guide. Well, let's see where you want to go with this. Let's see how we can monetize this. Let's see if this is possible. You know,
Mhm.
it's never like, no, like my daughter wants to play
You're a
Instagram.
more modern parent because
Yeah,
old school parents will box in your face and tell you go read a book and figure out how to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, maybe,
right.
and sit on down and stop the foolishness. So for you to embrace her and tell her, no, 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 this is great. Let's explore it. I think it's gonna make you, I think both of y'all happier in the long run because
Yeah,
it's gonna be less of a struggle for you to actually, be to meet her needs when she needs you.
yes.
So she'd be more open to you if this doesn't work,
And
or if it
and
does.
and for me, it's one solid line of communication that we share that she can always go to, because I'm still dad. You got to clean your room. You got to eat your vegetables. If you mess up in school, I got to discipline you. But we'll always have that link. No matter what, she'll come to me. I need some help with my VR, or I have a question about this tech thing, and we'll always have that. And I will never use that against her. It's always going to be that link, and I'm hoping that that'll help us and help our relationship moving forward. You know, she can, like, at least I can go talk to my dad. So when it's time to talk about
That's so
boys,
progressive.
yes, because
That's
when it's
so
time to
progressive.
talk
Mhm.
about boys, and we've gotten dangerously close to this topic,
Uh-oh. Was
right?
she
So
in
it's,
middle school?
yes. So it's
Mm.
time to
It's
talk about
coming.
boy. Oh yeah, it's
It's
already happened.
coming.
She was like, "Oh, Papa, a seventh grader likes me." No, I have a new friend that's a seventh grader.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm like, "What's your friend's name?" Uh, Jorge or Jose. I'm like,
No, not the
"Word,
Jorge. Uh-oh, watch
word."
out. Y'all hit the
So,
like button. I love it.
but
There's
we
so
have
many
that
parts of this.
communication. Yeah.
So I think, and thank you, DL, for the super chat. Still on me. I'm waiting on my Amazon, honestly. I appreciate you for donating. Thank you for always being a supporter of the Suzette Speaks show. No Ebony, no single man dem at no conferences. That's why I'm like, I feel like I'm going to the wrong conferences. When I go, especially to like galas and stuff, people be married. It's like people go coupled up. Even my cousin was getting on me. There was a gala this past weekend that my brother went to. I honestly didn't feel up to going. And they were like, you should have been there. And I'm like, in my head, I can't say it wasn't nobody I was gonna meet that I don't already know. So why would I spend $200 and go? Is that cheap? I was like, it's a $200 gala. I know everybody there is married.
Hmm.
I guess I could have gone and just supported, but still, I was very. I knew straight up. I'm like, I have a headache. I don't want to be schmoozing and schmoozing, and those people I already know them. I know everybody in that room. So anyway, so no, Ebony, it's not always a given. You would think so, but it's not always a given that you meet all kinds of people. Simon Hectic joins the conversation.
Nice.
Welcome, sir. How are you?
Peace,
Nice to
peace.
see you all the way from the UK in the building. How you doing tonight?
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I feel good. Soon
That's
go watch the
phenomenal.
playoff game. Yeah, and go relax. I'm enjoying the conversation in my company, so I'm good. How you doing? Yeah,
Yeah,
all right?
we're cool. It's hot over here, man. It's like real hot, like hot,
Oh
hot.
yeah. It's
Like,
it's it's probably like us. We were like 96 today in Miami.
Mhm.
Burning
wow.
up. I'm talking
Yeah,
about if you go outside, your skin burn. Like I'm trying to stay
can't.
inside at
Yeah,
all costs.
kind
Worked
of
out this
different.
morning is the type of workout now that I sweat. I'm talking about completely. If I have on like a t-shirt, I sweat it completely through that kind of heat. And the fans are going and it's like an open kind of like garage. It
Damn.
ain't playing. So I don't know what y'all doing over there, but it ain't playing over here.
We're trying. We're trying to do something.
I know it. It's yeah, it's that kind of what they say the planet is changing, but we're not going into that. But yes,
Mm.
so Better Gents is here. Have you been listening in? Tell me what you think. Are you a nerd?
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, there were some points that everyone sort of casted on. So like in terms of secret lives of nerds.
Yeah, what are you into that makes you a nerd though? We need to know the secret. What makes you? What part of what interests you? First of all, your emoji or your icon is
Mm,
like, what is that a picture of?
mm. Uh, I guess a black superhero.
Okay,
Um,
are you into Marvel and whatnot?
Yeah, I was. I had a whole Marvel connection. Like when I was young, like when I was in school and stuff. Like I used to collect Marvel like nothing.
Okay, so you're a
That's
nerd. Okay, you qualify. Okay,
that's like before all the Marvel movies and all the rest of it. Like I know the intricacies in terms of like first print, second print, what they're worth, how the prints went, and Stanley. I could go way into it, and I had.
So you were really
yeah,
dedicated.
it's really bad, and I just sold my whole collection because I went left, and about 10 years later, that guy sold that collection for.
Why you didn't keep you? Boy,
Yeah, it was bad.
It
was really
don't
bad.
know.
He sold
And
it for a
I
bill.
hope the missus didn't make you get rid of it. I would have been mad. I would have been mad. I feel that personally. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, shout out to Sunbreeze. Welcome. Good to see you. Happy you're here. Secret Lives of Black Nerds for real in the building. Hit the like button as you guys come in. Simon was just giving us his opinion on this convo. So he does qualify. He is coming from a first person experience. So either the question I just asked, how do you raise a Black nerd, supported? Do you feel like Black nerds are still kind of giving this side eye? Where it's like, oh, you're not cool enough, so we don't rate you until everybody needs a husband and everybody's looking back at the Comic-Con to see where they at, or what was your experience growing up? Tell any approach you want to take to tonight's topic.
I feel I don't know, like as Black people in the education system, like when you're growing up, like if you're deemed as a Black nerd, you're almost like an outcast.
Yes.
Because like you're not cool, like because most Black people, or like generally you can say, whatever population it is like you go into sort of this system, whereas like and there's a group of people, so you want to sort of fit in a circle, which normally happens. You sort of generally fit into some sort of circle, and there's the cool kids and there's the kids that get bullied a lot of the time. You don't want to be the kid that gets bullied.
Yeah.
So like you want to sort of be rocking with the kids that are cool, although you don't really know what that is. Generally, the nerds are outcasts, and they may be having a little class and workshop in in the facility somewhere, or after school, or whatever's going on, and they would, people would sort of take the mick out of them, basically. But what I find, and what seems to be happening in this day and age, is the nerds that live that life come out better
in the end. Smart guys finish first. You bring me full circle from my intro. This is what I realized. They the last men standing.
Right.
And they got some pockets. Hello.
In one shape or form. And it's not like total. So it's like there's not the total nerd. Like I've always been deemed, I've always been deemed like I'm a bit of a nerd, I'm a bit of a rough guy, I'm a bit of a this, I'm a bit of a that. Like,
hey, Simon would get gal. Simon, I can see the game, baby. I can see you coming with the soft side. Hey, girl.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's like
I've got a little bit of a soft side. I've got a little bit. Sorry, please don't be soft about my UK. Okay, I'm stopping.
I'm saying, like, that's what it is. Like, I've been standing in queues, like going to see a concert or something, and like you're with your peers, and you're just trying to fit in and stuff, and it's like they always want to try and label you, like, oh, are you the tough guy? Are you the nerd?
In America, I don't know about the UK. The band nerd is a big deal here. Right. Or did you play an instrument, or anybody here play an instrument?
I play multiple instruments.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the fact that I played clarinet in elementary school, junior high school, bass clarinet in high school. Yeah, you cannot deny that I was a nerd. Come on.
Yeah, the band.
All right. Alto saxophone, bass, drums, right? But I also play the M14, which is behind me. I play all kind of instruments.
Like, but I can give you this. No, it's true. The band was a whole different culture. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know how it is in the UK.
That's why I switched to the guitar. I didn't switch to the the automatic gun, but I switched to the guitar back then.
Let me cool this up a little.
Don't you worry, brother. We're going to the range. I got you.
All right.
I got you. We ain't gonna start with that. That's too much.
I got a 1911.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, we'll start with that.
Okay, we're done. We ain't gonna talk about no more guns. We're gonna talk about
That's okay. Well, Simon was finishing a thought about the labels that people have in the schools, and that you don't want to be labeled as the outcasts. that there's a lot of pressure to not be in the, I get beat up crew or whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
So how does
As
that impact people into adulthood? Go ahead, finish your point. Finish your point.
yeah. Sorry. Thanks. Wow. Okay.
Sorry, close up. You want to close up? My bad. Okay, no problem. No problem.
Well, that's what I have found in my lifetime in terms of sort of like growing up as a young black man. You couldn't be intelligent. You couldn't be smart. Like you couldn't be, the you would get this sort of label like, oh, you'll bring the teacher to Apple type thing. Do you get what I'm saying? Although like it was the aspiration of our parents for us to do best for what they can do, and that's very odd and particular. So does that make you a nerd? Does that make you smart? Does that make you something that you're, because it's a juxtaposition really, and why should we be cast as nerds? I mean, I don't know, is a nerd something or someone that plays computer games? Because I don't. Although, like, I'm totally
no, you already qualified with the Marvel collection.
yeah, and I'll go further than that. I can program some shit.
Oh,
I can do that. I can do some crazy algorithms, and I've got multiple languages. Multiple languages I will plug in. Okay, I could do that. Does that make me a nerd? Okay, yeah, maybe.
So the point you're making is, and I love it, that is there so much social pressure that people get kind of convinced out of being a nerd, I guess is what I'm hearing. And is it, should we be esteeming our nerds earlier for wanting to learn, wanting to be better, wanting to advance? I find there are a lot of men who are nerds who are not. So this is another thing. I find there are nerds who are also not necessarily the academic top. Is that, maybe you guys correct me. So for example,
I wrote a note here. I was like, is there such thing as a dumb nerd?
Absolutely. I would say not necessarily dumb, but not necessarily the valedictorian. So I know men who are, and boys at the time, now men who are invested in, some of the things that we talk about, Marvel, gaming, anime, different expressions of just uniqueness. And then they're not necessarily the A student, though they're like the C student. I don't know if they're smart, but they just didn't apply themselves, or if they're just not that academically inclined and they're just doing what they can do the best they can. Those folks, I think, kind of get the short end of the stick because they're not like the teacher's pet, all out, trombone player. Shout out to Very Unlikely with the trombone, but he played for sports, so it was fine. Miss Masters, we talking about woodwinds, lame. Okay, but he was in the brass section. Okay.
Somebody gets shoved in a locker. Where you at, cuz? Open up in the locker. We're going to shove him
I
in
know,
there.
right? Ace Butterfly, I'm with you. These blurs seem to be well-rounded and interesting. Hello, we sleeping on them, y'all. Like, get y'all daughters in line. Hello, somebody. Like, if he's in the woodwinds, get it.
Suzette, though, seriously, I think there's a such thing as a dumb nerd. They're out there.
There is.
How could there not be? Go ahead, bro.
No, there have to be. And let me read the super chat from Kimo. Go ahead. Make your point, DL.
Well, I was waiting for better Gents to finish that point.
No. I'm just saying, like, my definition of nerd had nothing to do with being smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just had to, it's what you indulge in, that makes you a nerd.
Not in the mainstream.
You could be an idiot and still indulge in those things, and you're still a nerd. You're just a dumb nerd, Absolutely.
A lot of mercy. Okay, so we've established there can be a not so smart. You use the word dumb. Nerd.
Being so nice, Sue. Go ahead and say it.
I don't want to.
That's a good point.
Have different gifts, man. I just realized, people assume people are as smart as they are, have the same abilities. Not everybody is born, I believe, with the same abilities. Some people just have different abilities. So maybe that book smarts is not their smart, but they must have, I believe, some other gifting. That's just the way I look at it. So I don't like to say dumb, but maybe not in a traditional academic sense. That's not their gift. But maybe they can paint their butts off, or they can do something. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. But anyway, maybe that's not even true. But that's how I look at it.
There's a definition.
Call me blue pill. Call me blue pill.
Yeah.
But that's how I look at it.
I don't agree with that definition, but
the definition's right there. That's the Kings. That's Oxford.
All right, let me get it. Come on, Kimo. Thank you for the super. I appreciate the donation, supporting the content. I appreciate you, my brother nerd. A foolish, contemptible person who lacks social skills or is boringly studious. Jeez, are we using the wrong definition? Thank you, Oxford.
All right.
Oh,
That's why I
Maybe.
said like there's
Are
nerds.
we geeks?
There's nerds and there's nerds and there's nerds. Like what the brothers were speaking on makes complete sense in terms of like there's nerds that are deemed or looked at in a certain type of way because they do certain types of things, but everyone has different categories. Like you can't say I'm black and I'm black. So it's like, you know, you got black.
No, exactly.
You got black. And then you got
we can't just say we're black. We have to go so specific. I was just like, we're just black.
There's
okay.
different levels of nerd.
Right.
And there's nerds that will say, you know, there's different communities. It's like if you say like you know, I can't read or I can't write, I'm blind, I've got vision impairments. All of those communities will have different communities. If you used to say like
they can't stack everybody together. I get you.
Right, yeah.
I get
so
you.
It is what it is, but it's interesting to have the conversation. So yeah.
I love chemo ads. The best part is the second half. Me can't own that. No anime or video games for me. So he does not subscribe to the Better Gents podcast definition. Sure. I'm just smart. Shout out to nerds and techies. All right. Foolish, contemptible. That word contemptible is, I gotta look that definition up now. You know, okay, you gotta make me do homework, Kimo, on the podcast. We're not gonna go that deep. Who lacks social skills or is born. So, Kimo, which one of those is yours? Lacks social skills? Because, gentlemen up here, by this definition, do you guys still categorize yourself as a nerd?
Not by this stuff. This is like an extreme definition. This is like if you had a sliding scale of nerds, this would be on like the far left or the far right. All nerds, like my man said, they're not the same. We
got levels of nerds, y'all. This is too
levels.
Extreme,
so this is too specific.
So where you fit in, Kimo? What you trying to say? Lacks social skills or is boringly studious? Ouch.
And I did a quick search. I looked up the definition of geek. I'm like, let's see what it says about geek.
Mandrell, thank you for joining. I'll bring you up in a second.
He's done a quick search. That's the definition of nerd. Look it up. Right there.
But it's for geek, it's unfashionable or socially inept person.
Unfashionable. So y'all not geeks. Will you characterize yourself as geeks? I'm not saying that.
Nerds are traditionally associated with being unsociable, unapproachable, people that sort of live in a bedroom somewhere.
What DL said, the pocket protector, the glasses with this, the annoying laugh, the not getting no play.
Right.
Right.
So but you will find nerds in a corporate setting as CEOs in the same sense.
Yeah, some of them are true nerds.
Right.
They've made themselves more fashionable, but in their heart, they're actually nerds. That's what I'm realizing. I'm like, I think these guys are cooler than they are. They're actually nerds. Not should I say it like that?
That's what it is. But, to be fair, it's
I realize this. I'm like, oh, you a smoother nerd. You found a way to kind of polish your nerdness, and then you move through corporate America. That's what I found. Comment.
You gotta own it. You gotta own the nerdness. Yeah, just own it. Just own it. Just be confident in the fact that you're a nerd. If you're self-conscious, you're awkward about it, people can see that. If you're a nerd, you bring a certain value to whatever it is that you're doing, and you got to own that. And that's the difference between like the Oxford definition of a nerd and what I would consider the modern everyday.
Okay, yours is more modern. Simon, I'm gonna drop you and I'm gonna bring up Mandrell. Welcome, Mandrell. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you, my brother. Can't wait for us to do a collab. Actually, y'all, it's not going to be this Saturday. I had said it was this Saturday. It's going to be the 25th. Let me just correct that. For those looking forward to Mandrell and his sister Shushu, they will be on my show Saturday, 12 noon, the 25th, June 25th. But good to see you, my brother. Are you enjoying tonight's combo?
I am. Very interesting conversation.
Nice. We're trying to do some different stuff. That's what I realized I got to do with the hot topics. Y'all wasn't really into the current events. So I'm going to throw out interesting topics. Join me Juneteenth. I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet. For open mic. Hopefully y'all actually come up like we're doing tonight. And we're going to enjoy some good convo. Tuesday, Ike Ojiamenian. Thank you. And I will be emceeing a political debate next Thursday. So I'll float the flyer on the community page so y'all can see. Hit the like button. Likes is free. Come on, y'all. I know you're enjoying the conversation, the secret lives of Black nerds. I want to hear what you have to say though, Mandro. What do you think about tonight's conversation, and what's your opinion?
It's a conversation that is not had anywhere near as often as it should, because there's a big misconception of nerds. Like, I'm a nerd, you know what I mean? And
how do you define nerd, Mandro?
Well, these are the things that you're into, and you can't really associate it with intelligence. I mean, well, intelligence is associated with it. It's not really something that defines it, you know, because there are dumb nerds, like the guy said on the panel earlier. There's some guys who are just
not academically inclined, is what we said.
I gotcha. Well, how about knuckle draggers? Can I say that?
Oh, Mandrell, see, this is why they gonna give you a report card before you get off this show.
I got you.
So
but
funny.
Here's the thing, though. Like in high school, right? I watched the Nerds. I never learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons, right? To this day, no clue how to do it, because in high school, all the nerds would be on the table playing D&D, and I was curious. Hey, what's this? You wouldn't understand. What? Never mind. It's not for you.
Whoa.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? They'd be nasty to me, but here's the thing. I was very muscular. I've always been that way my whole life, right? So they thought I was a jock.
Why you showing out, Mandrell? Why you?
No, I'm not. It's just they thought I was a jock.
You trying to say I'm a nerd, but I still got it. So okay,
right.
we hear you, brother. We hear you.
Okay. They thought I was a jock, so they you know the jocks, the guys who play football and everything, they pick on them and all that. So they thought I was one of those guys, but I wasn't, because I didn't play football either. I was boxing, you know, but no one knows that, because you know schools don't have a boxing team or nothing like that. I was going to a gym boxing, I was doing amateur boxing, stuff like that. So they didn't know. So, but the jocks, they knew I was a nerd, right? They knew I would read comic books, and I was into sci-fi. You know what I'm saying? And they hear me and the other guys talk about Star Wars and Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica, all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Then anime started, and it was like, okay. This is an early, because I was also into art. I was taking art classes and stuff like that. I draw all the time. And then Sci-Fi Channel had this marathon of anime, you know, classic ones: Akira, Vampire Hunter D, 8 Men After, a bunch of them. I
don't know what you talking
about.
I
know the Venus Wars. These are classic ones.
You guys on here know what he's talking
about.
That
guy with the glasses, he knows
absolutely.
What I'm talking about.
Vampire Hunter D is a classic. It's
right,
a classic.
But they have a marathon of it once a year, and every time it happens,
these are anime cartoons.
Yes.
Yeah, they're more like animated movies. Like if you watch
on TV.
Well, these.
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
The thing is, if you watch, these are the ones. If you watch, Suzette, you're like, this isn't for children.
Oh,
we're like, yeah, I know it's not for kids. It's not. Silly.
Every now and then you go on a Cartoon Network, y'all. You be like, this is what they got over here. This is like, woo, yeah.
No,
sometimes
but
Cartoon Network push that envelope.
But it's not. These are not ones you'll find on Cartoon Network. Cartoon Networks they're not airing these, you know, because these are like dirty anime. No, they're like Hollywood blockbusters. But there's language, there's graphic violence. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. Is it cartoons with sex in it? There are some, but I mean, there are some. No, everybody knew what this was.
It's not the focus though. The sex is just like, it's like how you see sex in a movie. It happens. It's not like the focus.
Yeah, it's not that. There's some of them out there too. It's called hentai.
The nerds kind of freaky out here. Y'all hit the like.
Stay away from that though. I mean, that's
I don't know what we promoting over here.
I wasn't going to talk about that.
Right. Hit the like button.
Yeah. Okay. But here's the thing. I was in the Army, right? And here I am, Special Forces, Green Beret. This guy knows what I'm talking about.
Cool.
But at the same time, I'd like order these a bunch of DVDs, because there's a store that used to, you know, download anime and burn them to DVDs. I don't know if you guys even know what that is now, but DVDs used to be a thing. I buy a bunch of it. I buy a bunch of them, and you know, we're deployed, and when you have downtime, you got downtime. There's nothing to do but work out. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to do but work out. So we work out and then watch this stuff, and they're like, what are you watching? You know, and then they laughed at it at first, but then one guy sat down and just watched it. Another guy comes down, sits down and watches it. Another, and the next thing you know, the entire team is sitting right there watching anime with me. So it's nerd stuff, but at the same time,
it's cool.
Yeah, I was into other stuff too.
Okay, you're over here talking about
asking for a friend.
Channel asking for. So I don't know what we've turned this into, but I'm still like trying to figure out what kind of
something to talk about here. Those who in the private chat, I dropped the definition.
Okay, let's get back on subject. Okay.
Yeah. So and it seems to me that all of these definitions are pretty bad.
Okay, so private chat. Okay, thank you. So DL dropped this. I'm gonna just drop it in the chat. So this is from Urban Dictionary.
Yes, and that's
so this is a nerd Urban Dictionary because I do think we have kind of strayed from some of the urban. Let's do Urban Dictionary definitions. I thank you, Better Gents, because I think you have a more modern definition.
Oh yeah,
I do think some people are with the Urban Dictionary definition. I'm gonna drop it right now. So what does it mean to be a nerd? Says Urban Dictionary. In slang, noun slang, a person considered to be socially awkward, boring, unstylish, etc. An intelligent but single-minded person obsessed with and this is where Better Gents had it, non-social hobby. I think that's a great definition, that second part there.
Isn't that most people, though?
Things you could do by yourself?
Well, it doesn't have to be non-social.
Okay.
A lot of nerd hobbies are very social. You know, like Magic the Gathering requires another player.
Okay.
Multiplayer video, like someone who plays like MMOs online. That's true.
Social so
thing.
The folks that are gamers, are they considered nerds?
If that's what you indulge in, and can we define that as something that's not highly regarded by the mainstream? Yes, so they would be a gaming.
Absolutely, because I feel sorry for those ladies who got to tear the control out of your hands so we can take care of
here's the thing. I don't know. I know some hardcore dudes who play Madden.
Yeah, but they're not
all day.
Okay. They're yes, but that's football. So that's the
socially
thing.
Acceptable.
Like it's a video game, but the real medium there is he's a football fan, right? So football is accepted, widely accepted as cool. You can spend the same amount of time, the same amount of money, the same amount of energy and resources on something football related as you do on anime. But the first guy is a football fan, and the second person is an anime nerd. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends on how socially accepted the medium is.
But the point I was trying to make is all these definitions seem to be negative connotations of this.
Yeah,
this
I would agree. It's like saying the person is an outcast. It's not saying the person should be loved or beloved. It's definitely saying that the person is an outsider in a sense.
Well, that's how they're treated. That's how nerds are treated, though.
Yeah,
that's they are. Yep. Maybe we're here to change that. We got to change the definition of a nerd. It's gonna evolve, you know.
Right, but when nerds talk to other nerds, it's like, no, they're the weird ones. You know what I'm saying?
He just didn't know. You're in the Matrix. No, you're in the Matrix. No,
it's all relative. Yeah.
Right, it's relative.
Ace is loving your voice, Better Gent. She says you should do audiobooks. I noticed that from his first appearance. I was like, he has a great voice. But on our nerdiness scale, so let's talk about your nerdiness in your dating. How does that influence how you date?
I can speak to that.
Y'all got mighty quiet.
So we didn't know who you were talking to. You didn't.
Either one of you. Either one of you. Better Gents, go ahead. Better Gents.
Yeah, no. So you know, I'll be the first to say, like, as a nerd or someone who would be considered by some folks as like a lame or a square, women who are about that culture, and when I say that culture, I mean like Black culture. And it's not necessarily only Black women. It's, you know, it's also white women or Hispanic women who are into that culture. I'm not the dude for them. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the kind of guy that they're gonna go for. They're gonna go for, you know, the cool dude, the G. And I find that the women who are more attracted to me are like, you know, Midwestern, or, you know, like they're not. It's a whole different culture. Is what I'm saying.
I call Cap. Hold on.
No, seriously, I'm telling you right now.
This is my show. Hold on.
If I go,
hold on, I'm gonna call Cap. Let me ask you this though. How tall are you? Can I ask how tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
5'10". You got a good height.
Decent.
So you telling me the sister's not checking for you?
Not the sis. So I'm not saying it's Black women. I'm saying it's a cultural thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, correct me,
so
please, because I'm not seeing if you go into a place, a bar, with
mhm.
your little beard gang and your little kind of natural hair with your nerd swag. There are women, not every one black woman. There are black women that's gonna dig that. You're saying
There
it's a
are.
culture.
It's a cultural thing. So I am dating a black woman right now, and she's not a tip. She's not. I don't want to use
She's
the
a
word
nerd too.
typical. She is. Well, she normally dates white guys, so
Oh
she has a
snap!
different
Oh
mindset.
snap! We done okay. We figured this one out.
That
Y'all, the
explains
show over. Y'all.
everything.
It's a cultural mindset thing, is what I'm saying.
Oh
It's not a
Jesus!
race thing. It's more like the
So you done got the
girls.
whitest black girl you could find.
Maybe I did. Maybe I did. But
Can I
she's.
jump in? Can I
Go ahead,
jump in?
Dio.
There's this
Oh,
double
Say
judge right
say
here.
wait,
I
we
need to
love
hear
Yeah.
this.
the nerds,
We got
ladies.
this double judge
ladies,
going on.
Suzette.
Let me say
This
this.
is
Let me
over.
say this.
My
Let me
heart
say
is
this.
broken. Go ahead, Dio.
Let me say this. If you walk into a bar and that bar is trap, 100% hardcore, raws of the raw, hip hop trap music bar, I believe the brother is saying, correct me if I'm wrong, he's not going to do as well in there as he would if he went to a place that was more mainstream, even R&B.
Better Gents was a
perhaps.
DJ or is
But
a
I'm saying, but
DJ.
we're
back
talking
in
about
the
the
day,
room.
you know.
But
Yeah.
right now, just walking to the bar, I that's what I'm hearing. Like, because if I
Better
walk
Gents,
into
can
it,
you dance?
I got some rhythm, you know. Yes, I can dance. I
The
grew up
way
in
you even
Brooklyn.
answered that.
I grew up in Brooklyn. I went to backyard parties, block parties. I was a DJ. Yes, I can dance. Absolutely.
Hold up,
Is
hold
that
up, hold up,
does
hold
that
up.
qualify me for the trap parties?
So we're not gonna get no nerds, ladies. Y'all hear what's happening right here, right
No,
now.
that's not.
We're not
but
gonna get
but
nowhere.
but but
I'm too
Suzette,
ethnically black. I think I'm
hold
too
on,
ethnically black.
hold on. Maybe
Mhm.
the
Wait a
hardcore
minute.
trap women might not be interested in that because, and it doesn't matter that it's him. It could be anyone who's not of that world. But
Hold on, let me ask Better Gents one more question. Better
Sure.
Gents, can I ask you, are your parents FBA ADOS?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so 100% American.
My dad is 100%. My mom's got a bit of mix. She's got a little bit of Native American in her, and I think her great grandfather or her grandfather was Irish. So she's got a
No,
bit
that's
of a
ADOS.
mix.
That's ADOS. That's
Yeah,
75% of black people in America, according to Henry Louis
Yeah.
Gates, have white ancestry. So we
They're
are
they're
mixed people.
they're both
So
ADOS.
okay, because I'm trying to think about the cultural influence too. And yeah, oh, go ahead, DL. What you was gonna say? You was gonna back him up?
well, I'm just let me ask you this, Suzette. You don't think that people who are into a certain subculture, whatever that subculture may be, wouldn't necessarily be into someone who was maybe the opposite of that subculture? And I'm talking about trap music versus someone who is really into Jimi Hendrix, like really into like 60s and 70s kind of vibe. With those two worlds in a trap music environment, click? I don't think so.
I love Quincy. He talking about LOL. They like when the nerds hit the wall. Oh, geez, we know we.
Well, here's the thing now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, hood chicks like nerds too.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
But
I don't know.
I think, but my point is where they meet. Okay, if they're just somewhere out and about, they're just okay. We bump into each other at the smoothie place. All right, that's great. But if I'm in a if I'm in a trap, I don't even know these rappers. These guys that keep shooting themselves, them rappers, the trap guys. If I'm at one of them concerts or I'm in a spot that's what they do, I don't really think I'm gonna holler at some chick in there if I'm brother Better Gents.
Well, I guess that's the
Mhm.
same thing with me. If I'm in a trap club, if I don't have like, I don't really wear like a lot of like scantily put together outfits.
Exactly.
If I have on my jeans and a kind of cute top look, still they.
But it's,
still-
it's different.
They're
with
still gonna
women.
gravitate to you.
Dudes are gonna holler at you no matter what. It's different.
No
but
matter
with the
what.
women,
bad example. No, I'm just gonna
Right.
try to think of a better
but
example.
with the women want to come after the guy who's not with the big chain on, with the gold iced out. You feel me? It's a certain kind of thing you're expecting. I don't see women. It's possible, but I just don't see it. Now, if you
Here's-
just like this, oh, go ahead, brother.
Listen, no offense to anybody, but understand that it's not going to last long term because if you're a nerd, you're just not what they're into. You're not. But I mean, you step to them. I mean, you talk to them.
That's not what we're talking about.
Just
That's
like
not-
everyone else. I mean,
That's not what we're talking about here, brother. Like we all.
No, I can
all-
accept
So
it.
the
everybody-
black
That's not
girl
a
you
problem.
go with,
That's not what we're talking
grew
about.
up
We're
in the
talking about.
Midwest. She's a Midwest black girl.
No, she's Southern. She grew up in North Carolina. She's black. I mean, she's straight up, when she's
No, I
about that
get it. I
culture.
get it. I have friends from Georgia like that. I have a friend from Atlanta,
Hmm.
and she is very Southern.
Yeah.
She has a child with a white guy. I think they're gonna get married, but she is. I don't know how to explain it. Her cultural connotation and his match. I get why
Mm.
they work
Hmm.
out. Notwithstanding race.
Yeah.
But she's very Southern. I get it. I don't know how to explain it, but they match. They match culturally. White Southerner with a black, like hardcore, not just Atlanta, like suburb. She's Southern.
Sure.
So I get it. I get that. I'm just understanding. I mean, there's so many complexities with us in terms of socioeconomics as career, interests as nerd or thereabout, racial components that define us, for some more than others. Culture is what you're calling it. Culture defining being one of the most defining parts of yourself,
Hmm.
and culture supersedes race. And I get that. I mean, everything is not for black and white for me, guys. I want to see black families win. I do, though. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Right.
But to understand a man's mentality, it will match. I get it. I get it. Because even I have a friend who is Puerto Rican, dark skinned brother, handsome guy, married to a white Puerto Rican. And people down here give him grief and say he's married to a white woman. And I'm like, culturally they match. He's getting his mom. Like, I don't want to say it like that, but he's getting his mom. Like, they have an understanding that is so beautiful. But for a lot of our, what should I say, communities that are more tribal in the United States, where it is a very strong emphasis on being with your own, people will criticize you, even though culturally I get it. So please understand, I know there's more nuance. Um, and I'm not trying to say you could only date black women. Please understand that I'm a little bit more nuanced than that. I hope I can clarify that. Ebony asked, would I date white? I have not. I have not to this point. And it's not I think it's the same thing. I think it's a cultural connectivity for me. I think I probably have a lot in common with a lot of white men. But there's something culturally that I want, maybe that I don't see there. I'm not saying my mind will always be like this. I'm just saying who I am today, right now on this show. The cultural nuances that I want, I don't know if I've seen captured in a white guy. And I think mostly black men try to talk to me. I don't really get approached by white guys like that. That's my experience. But I probably have a lot in common culturally with white men too.
But there it is. That's just your experience. They just hadn't approached you.
They don't like the thick girls.
Yeah, that's
I'm just saying.
That's all there is to it. I mean, but
I know some dudes
just
in LA.
saying.
I know some dudes I used to roll with in LA that love the thick girls. But you ain't wearing white. Them boys be all up on you.
There's one that comes up on, oh my gosh, Melanie King's show. Do you know what I'm talking about? This one white guy who was always looking for someone else, even though he's in a relationship. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? There's a white guy that come on Melanie King's show. Okay, if you know what I'm talking about, put it in the chat. But he's always trolling, and he's always like, yeah, I'm flexing and I'm looking for a black queen, but he has one at home, but it's okay, fine. Okay, fine. But anyway, yeah, that's an interesting convo. Do nerds, how would I pose a question? Because it's almost like culturally matching the gentleman that you're with and finding a lady that matches you. And that, again, supersedes race. So,
well, the thing is, with in my experience, the relationships that have worked are women who are into the same things. You know what I mean? Like science fiction.
Yeah.
Or, some women are like, I'm still shocked if I find a woman who likes anime or manga. Like, I'm shocked. I
don't even know nothing about what is a manga.
It's a comic book.
Don't tell them I didn't know that. Okay.
No problem. But it's like, they'll tell you though. I'm like, really?
I want to pretend for a man. So just make it, don't clip that. Just say it.
But Suzette,
Star Wars. You guys, all of you guys are into Star Wars?
I am.
It's
I like
good.
Star Wars.
No, it's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Star Wars. But the thing is this:
can
opposites? Yes, it absolutely could. That's a whole other show. Can opposites attract? Absolutely. Could, in that scenario with that club, we were like, oh well, if brother Gents goes into a trap club and there's no way he's gonna come out of there with a woman. I'm just saying it's more difficult. I don't think a woman in that environment on that night is going to be looking towards someone who might look like better Gents, or me for that matter. I might go in there wearing a suit. They might not want to holler at me, and I'm only going to tolerate so much. But same scenario, we're just out and about somewhere. Could that same woman meet me or meet brother better Gents and have a relationship, get like opposites and all that? Absolutely, it could work. But all we're saying is in certain environments it's going to be tougher. That's all. I mean, as far as being a nerd, like I said, there's nerd game. I've never hung out with brother Gents. We're going to because we're in the same area. I'm gonna catch up with him. But I guarantee you ain't worried about his game when we go in. Wherever we go, he gonna take care of that. We get him back to the crib. He's gonna pull that guitar off the wall.
There we go.
And start playing. It's a
Well, I want to
wrap.
be with you.
It's a wrap.
No, she didn't go with Hootie and the Blow.
I can do. What am I
Hootie and the
gonna
Blow.
do? I
There
can
it
see you
is.
at a bar, better Gents. I would be at your karaoke bar singing all the
But
songs.
Suzette, are you a nerd?
I thought I qualified. They was telling me no. I just don't
Suzette,
have
you
any
just
kind of.
you just started singing Hootie and the Blowfish
I
out of
love
nowhere.
Hootie.
Out of all the songs you could have thought of.
I think because I grew up in a very, like I said, my school was super suburban. I have that experience as well as a part of who I am. So I think kind of like I don't know what you want to call it. Like I feel like I'm a confluence of things. So like most of what you guys have described, nerds being just people who are curious, people who are like able to fit in, chameleons of a sort, who just curiosity leads them and they can, adapt to wherever they are, reverse engineer, think, do. If that's nerdy, I'm 100% nerd. Like, and I like the weird thing I think I like is British comedy. Is that
I like
weird?
it too. I like it
find
too.
British comedy, but I like old school British comedy.
Talking about Benny Hill, talking
Like
about Mighty
Benny Hill,
Pythons.
huh?
I know what you're
I
talking about.
find that so funny.
The Office, the old Office.
I
the original.
love that.
With Ricky Gervais? Yeah.
Like if I go on Netflix, I can watch any British like funny show on a given day. And I don't know, culturally, I don't know why. I think sometimes I'm like, is it because the Jamaicans were British colonial? I don't
Colonized, yeah.
know.
Yeah,
I find it so funny.
No, Suzette, I think you're a nerd.
I would be proud to be a nerd.
I think you're a
feel like
nerd,
a nerd.
Suzette.
I don't know if people consider me a nerd, but I feel like a nerd.
Now, Suzette, have you watched Mighty Python's The Holy Grail?
I did back in the day.
You like it?
I thought it was so funny. I just thought it was
She's
so
a
British.
nerd. It's official. You qualify.
Well, no,
You're a nerd.
no, wait, it's
You
one
like
more
But I
watching
didn't read any of the
pythons?
fantasy books like
One
how
more
you guys.
test.
I know people
One
who
more
read
test.
Tolkien and read this. I wasn't into that.
Now, one more test, Suzette, to see if you're really a nerd. Same movie, Mighty Python's The Holy Grail, right? So the scene, you have to, what scene am I talking about here? I'm not quite dead yet.
I don't know.
I'm getting better.
I don't know.
I think I'll go for a walk. She's not a nerd. She's not.
I don't
a nerd,
know.
bro.
I don't know the movies by heart to tell you the scenes.
That's the nerdy part.
Oh, okay. I can't
And
even
that
tell
scene
you.
right there, there's people. If there's a real Monty Python fan in the chat right now, they're sending the answer right
Well,
now.
then
They're
they
saying,
are
as I was
true
saying,
Monty Python. I've
Nerds.
enjoyed Monty Python, but I'm not quoting Monty Python.
So what's?
But I
what's,
enjoyed. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say, what is your nerd thing? What do you really geek on? Is there something like that poster behind me, Snatch? I can run line. I've met people,
No.
total strangers, and ran lines from that movie. First time I met them, and we've been best friends ever since.
See, but I'm in general, because I think culturally too, my parents never really brought me to movies, and I wasn't allowed to watch movies growing up like that. I'm not a movie person where I memorize lines of movies.
Yeah, I'm just again that's that. I
Of
think
any
that's
movie.
That's part
Really?
of the thing to be the geek. Remember, it was like it was in the definition. That's part of the thing. Part of the almost obsession with whatever that geekdom is.
You got to indulge in what it is. That's part of my
I
definition.
dabble then. I don't
you
indulge
da-
like
yeah,
I
see,
would
you-
know the word by words.
You got to indulge.
Like I had homeboys who could quote back in the day, like all of Coming to America. Like they knew every line and every joke. I thought they were weird. I always thought
They were
that
nerds.
movie
But-
was
but-
funny.
But the thing
But how
is,
can y'all quote lines from it?
because I've seen Snatch 1,000 times, just like he has.
Sorry,
And if
there's no
if he
judgment. I'm
splits
just being
out lines,
observational. I'm just
I could
saying, in
probably
my
match it.
heart, I didn't understand it. I mean, I had homeboy. I'll be like, ha ha ha, that was so funny, and I could be fake here now too, but I don't remember the lines. I don't. But I know the movie was good and it was funny. I know that. But I'm not like I've watched it 1,000 times. What have I watched? I don't think I watched anything 1,000 times.
I've seen Snatch so many. Like he has that picture. I've seen that. He's talking about quoting my lines from. I was like, I've seen that movie so many times.
No.
Wow. Then I found Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Lock,
Stock, that too.
It takes you down a hole. It's Lock, Stock,
no,
Snatch.
I wasn't one of those
Gentleman,
people.
Rock and Roller, all these things, and then people will start again. That's the whole geekdom. That's the nerd thing. So. Okay, we're gonna take.
So have I been disqualified? Y'all hit the like button. Have I been disqualified?
I think so.
I don't know.
I just like it. I'm not obsessed
it now. But she's not a geek about it.
No,
like things like Snatch. No. Okay, yeah,
I've not seen Snatch.
When after I saw it the first time, I geeked out over it.
Bro, Getaway Driver.
Yeah, you done already get away from Tyrone. You can put a jumbo fucking jet in there.
No, y'all
lost me. It's too tight.
But okay, right here. That's it right there, Suzette. That's geeking out. That's nerding. What he just said right there is right out the movie, right? What do you mean you can't? You can put a jumbo jet
in there. It's too tight.
Do y'all know what these guys are talking about? Am I the one?
You're the only one.
Well, that's it because I ain't selling it. It's a fact.
But better Gents, he could geek out on something else. It might be something that we don't know, but he could geek out on it. That's the whole thing. There has to be, if you're gonna be a geek or a nerd or something like that. This is just my definition.
I think I might have lost out on the quote and the memorization of the movies.
Gotcha. Now here's the thing.
I'm not that person.
Is that when it comes to anime, it depends on what you're watching. Like there's one that I watch called One Piece, and it's been going for like 22 years. Right, so you're not gonna remember everything from something like that.
They talk about Snatch is my joint. That's funny.
Snatch is good. Suzette, you're missing out if you haven't seen that film. That is a good one.
Yes, Andrew, I might be a law nerd.
Oh, there you go. You're a nerd about something.
Okay, Andrew, you read my mind, but I didn't want to sound weird. I'm a dance hall geek. If you want to get me a geek about anything,
you're what?
I know when I go to Jamaica and I sing the music. They like guys from down there be like, damn, you know every word to every song.
That song? Shucky Ducky? What's that? Something Ducky? It was this is dance.
Oh, you talking about Mr. Vegas?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, okay.
Shucky Ducky, but wearing a ran. I want to do them.
I might have the vinyl of that somewhere back there.
Hey, I was thinking honestly, Andrew. I'm sure you know me, getting to know me for real. Because the only thing I could think of when y'all was like anything you've memorized, I'm like, only thing I know is every 90s and above reggae song, dance hall reggae song. I can quote, I can sing them lyric for lyric. I like you talk about things that stimulate memories from childhood and being in Jamaica during the summer and whatever. Like formative experiences came around dance hall reggae for me.
Let me ask you this question. And this DMX did a song. He did a collab with somebody. It was like,
Here comes the boom.
You're a nerd. That's it. You're a nerd. You're a dance hall nerd.
Musically speaking, dance hall reggae is my nerddom. But I wanted to say that, Andrew. Thank you for bringing that out of me. But I didn't think that qualified because I'm like, it's dance hall. But I can any single dance hall song. I could probably I could rap it better than the person who sang the song.
You're a dance hall nerd. And my brother right here, he has like the 5 deadly venoms and Kid with the golden arms. We could geek out on that. Him and I could sit around and just talk about.
See, he knows what his background is too.
As soon as I saw the background,
I don't know what
you know what his background is, don't you? Without me even saying it, like Saturday afternoons at like noon after Saturday morning cartoons would go off. You know, when you're a kid, Kung Fu Theater would come on. Then the Shaw Brothers logo would come up, and it's like, yeah, he and I can probably go back and forth with that. Master with cracked fingers, all kind of stuff.
We can know what y'all talking about. I understand. Great people.
Look, Mixmaster knows what this is. Shaw Productions.
Right.
They're over there talking about nice background. Canadian born. Okay, the nerds have united on the SuzetteSpeaks show. Y'all welcome. 2 champions of Shaolin. Okay. The opening of Ang was dope. What? 5 deadly venom? What is going on? Jesus. I don't know what's happening right now. I might not. Y'all might need to send me a list of stuff I need to watch.
You have people in your audience who know what this is. If you know what this is, by looking at
Toad versus Snake.
Right.
That's dope right there. Yeah.
Yeah. If you know what it is, then you're a nerd.
It's Toad versus Snake right there.
If you know what this is, you're a nerd.
Shaolin. That's a movie.
It's a bunch of movies. And
what movie is that from?
The 5 deadly venoms.
5 deadly venoms.
Yep. They can just by seeing this picture, they
Oh
can
my
they can tell you what
gosh.
the movie is.
Yo, I've
Yeah.
been trying to
Okay,
buy
so
the
I
mask
gotta
for
brush
the
up on my
5 deadly
nerd
venom. Oh, you
skill.
do. I've been trying to buy the mask for the 5 deadly venoms. I'm gonna have to get somebody to make them. That's how into that. I want the mask from each of those, like from Snake, from Toad. Who was it? It was Centipede. I can forget the other two, but I want to get those masks.
Okay, what about watching Big Bang Theory? Does that make you a nerd?
No.
Only if you get every single reference on Big Bang Theory. If you get every single reference, then I can say maybe
And
you
you
are a
can
nerd.
quote them, and okay, I get it. I don't have that type of.
Yeah,
I
But
like
you
don't
do
have
with
that.
dancehall. You have it with
Only with
dancehall.
yeah, you have a
dancehall.
dance hall.
But what does
That's
that
it.
make
A
me?
dancehall
A
nerd. That
dance
makes you a
hall
nerd.
nerd.
That's the only one I know.
You're probably a geek about it if you can quote all
I'm telling you,
sing
I
all
can
the
quote,
songs. I
and I
mean,
can
What's
sing
that
every
one? Bum
song.
bum 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 Billy
What's up,
bum.
bum? Those are easy though. You're not even getting into no real
Pass the
hardcore
Dutchie.
stuff. So, do you think someone will be able to understand me if I'm a dancehall nerd?
I think
yeah.
you would like somebody who was a dancehall nerd. If we sat down and nerded out on dancehall music, if a
Oh
dude,
my
okay,
gosh, we'd go crazy.
if a dude
Or
trying to get on, and he's kind of like on the bubble for
Y'all
you,
don't watch
like
this show and try to run game. Don't watch
but
this show and try to run game. Okay, all
but
right,
if
all
a
right.
guy's on the bubble and then all of a sudden he says something about some dancehall music or the music comes on and he starts moving to it, you be like, and
Oh,
your
it's
accent
the
will come out. What do you know
he
about
already
that boy?
know.
You know what I mean? All
Yeah,
that
he
comes
already
out.
know. That would be. Oh my gosh, that would be so good. But
And
And
see,
it would
yeah.
change
gotta be
your
careful.
whole night and your
It
whole
would.
perspective of that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we'd be
As,
soulmates.
as
We'd be
opposed to
soulmates.
someone like me, you'd have to teach me about that. Like
Right.
dance hall, I don't know anything about it. You know what I mean? I like reggae, but
No.
like
We're
that's the
talking
only
about.
thing I can tell you. Like, hey, you like dance hall? What's that? You know reggae music? Oh yeah, I like
Here we
reggae.
go.
And like that's the only thing I know about
You
it.
don't see.
You'd have to teach me. All right.
Mm-mm.
But someone who
Sus-
comes in who loves
So they
a dance
saying
hall like
everybody
you.
is has something. I'm a wrestling geek. Says
There you
Yellow
go.
Yeah,
Pill.
that's Yellow Pit. Yeah, Yellow's a good guy too.
Oh
Real
wow,
cool down to earth brother.
Yo, did
nice to meet
somebody
you,
jump in?
Yellow.
Did somebody
Nice to
jump in
meet
on the
you.
pod on your
Sorry, Great Pill. We just been talking. How you doing?
Hey, it's fine. I'm just waiting for everybody.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Nice to
How,
see you.
how's
Are you
everybody
enjoying
doing?
the convo?
Everything's all right.
Uh,
Good,
yeah.
man.
Shout out to the chat. I came in from the other side of the perspective of conversation. So
Mhm.
if you don't mind, bear with me.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm about to throw a little shade at the fellas.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
here we
Um,
go.
Uh-oh.
My scent radar just hit off a little bit. That's toward Mandrell.
Snip radar.
My scent radar just hit
Yeah.
off a little bit toward Mandrell.
How?
I'm not going to dive into that because that's negative. I'm not about that energy. I just want to throw that little bit of salt. Two, shout out to Miss Creative and Quincy in the chat because they actually know what they're talking about. Also, shout out to Mr. Black David. He made a comment about MMA nerd. I never known an MMA nerd, but unfortunately, since the fellas on the panel mentioned something about dance hall nerd / geek, so I guess that's a category. Also, unfortunately, to the other brother that mentioned about nerds isn't social, that is very untrue because Exhibit A for Mandrell, he's, excuse my language, he's damn near a Black Rambo, veteran in his own right, self-made man, and quote unquote free to the Black community. So he's technically
Special
unplugged.
ops. Yes, I
Yes,
think
exactly.
that's a
So
compliment.
he's technically unplugged, and he's officially a geek. So let's not make statements that people saying, "Hey, nerds is antisocial," like they stay home, because that's not true. I'm also from the gaming community, 10 years from my gaming channel, and everybody that's actually I played with, formed a relationship with, either was engineers. Mostly about good 90% was in the army serving, because that's pretty much where they spent most of their time. Yeah, there you go. So you know that in his head. So you know. So all their money was pretty much shot into games or anime or manga or comics, something like that. So it doesn't make them antisocial when they're literally traveling over 20-some countries. So that's and last but not least, I'm sorry, Miss Suzette, love you, but you do not qualify as a nerd.
Oh,
Because all the brothers, even the panel was naming stuff, and you didn't know nothing.
I didn't know none of it. I'm talking about zero. I'm
Yes.
talking about not even a little. I feel like I need a list of things to watch so I can at least blend in if I meet a nice.
Well, that's okay though, because you know, to some degree, you had a life. You know what I'm saying? You was a successful lawyer. You know, but it just takes sometimes people it had to be
So-
fair by the Mandrell. Some people just say, hey, I'm gonna go dive in head first into what I want to do. Some people say, hey, you know what? When I have that time to spare, I'm gonna jump into comics, anime, whatever to keep my day going. So
all right, Gray Pill came, shots fired. I wasn't sure where you were going, sir.
I got you.
respectfully.
But I still don't understand how we got Simpas.
Oh, that's on Mandrell. That's on Mandrell.
All right, let
I'm
me bring up
confused, too.
Mixmaster as well. I mean, Mandrell, they might be coming for you, bro. I don't know.
Everybody
I don't know.
comes from my neck.
I'm like, no, don't cuss nobody out. We it's love over here.
Right.
So we're gonna keep it in that vein with Mixmaster Miko. Hey, Miko.
Hey, what's going on, yo?
Long time no
it's been
see
a
up
hot.
here. How you doing?
Oh, I know. Oh man, I've been so busy. It's
I'm glad
unbelievable.
that you are here though, and I see you dropping a lot of nerd references. So first of all, I didn't ask Gray Pill. So Gray Pill, you say you certified nerd. You were a gamer,
Yes.
okay, and you knew everything that they just talked about, and I didn't. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Mixmaster, would you define? You say you was in a what, trombone section or what? What you was in?
No, I was a two player. I was a two
Tuba?
player.
Wait, you were in the band? You were in the band?
Yeah. High
Nerd.
school and college.
Yeah, he's a nerd.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna judge you, but I'm just gonna say many would assume that you are a nerd. But how would you categorize yourself?
Oh, definitely a nerd. I mean, I went from playing into the band to DJing to like gaming since I was like, oh god, 5th grade. And just being academically inclined. And I'm an engineer. Come on.
There we go.
Oh, and an engineer. Okay, so you have qualified. So give us some definitions or give us your perspectives on what we've been discussing tonight. And go ahead.
Well, everyone's been on point so far. So, but I never played D&D, so I never got that knee deep. Did a little bit of comics, but definitely into Star Wars and MCU as well. So, yeah, I mean, I just pretty much grew up in that
You
atmosphere.
knew all the quotes they were just saying?
Oh yeah, from Snatch when I seen that on DL's wall, I'm like, that's why I put down. It was a funny angle. I
so
knew
how
exactly
y'all
what he was talking about.
knew to watch those things in the first place?
You don't. I think I just
you just come across. Yeah, you just stumble across it. And I'll give an example. For me, I was in.
This is true, Ace. I got a lot of intellectual men over here.
Yeah, I think it was for me. Just growing up, like it was always Saturday morning cartoons because when it really wasn't no social media, and you know, my mom was always the hey, let's have family dinners on Sundays. So you knew the weekend was off, so you get up early in the morning and watch your cartoons. But I think
these cartoons came on Saturday mornings.
Are you serious right now, Suzette?
She is.
You never seen Saturday cartoon?
I'm gonna stop.
Suzette's young. She's young.
Why don't we get in my business? But these came on in the 70s.
Let's stop talking.
So I don't.
I clearly need to be educated. Educate me, DL. Send me a list of stuff I gotta watch on YouTube, so I can get caught up.
I might be one of the old heads on the panel. So back like the 80s, late 70s, early and into the 80s.
It was the 90s too.
Okay, 90s. But yeah, later on. But the comics we're talking about, because I came up watching Johnny Quest. I came up watching Battlestar Galactica. Not Battlestar
Galactica. One in the chat. If this came on your TV on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, Star Blazer, Johnny Quest, Star Blazers, Robotech. And Robotech was like towards the 80s, like right before I graduated.
On a Saturday morning on what channel?
Well, all in that was ABC, NBC, and CBS.
NBC,
that was
WB.
it. Now also,
I don't know what.
How old are you?
No, come on my business.
No.
Come on my business.
Fair enough. I'm just saying. I mean, that would give us context.
Not really.
That would give us context.
Not really. Get on my business, okay? So the point I'm asking is, I'm just want to know. Drop a 1, and I don't want to be the only one who has no idea. Where was I on a Saturday morning?
Voltron, GoBots,
getting educated.
The GoBots.
But hold on, which Voltron we talking about? Transformers. But which
I was doing chores and I was at Saturday science program. I was
exactly. Just proved my point. I just said that earlier.
Yep,
you was getting educated.
You was getting educated, but like which
I feel like I missed a whole like cultural phenomenon.
You might
know you didn't.
You pretty much.
I'm so sad.
It's all good.
So do you think this is also like, okay? I'm talking to all brothers here. Do you think white guys have this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
About the same stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wear a Robotech shirt and a Voltron shirt on my podcast, and everyone's like, "Yo, I remember G.I. Joe." I wear these T-shirts.
I know G.I. Joe. Y'all didn't say G.I. Joe. That's the only
we
one.
have to say G.I. Joe.
Exactly.
I know G.I. Joe. I know Power Rangers. That's it.
Wow.
Power
Rangers
Rangers.
don't count.
I was
That
fighting a
don't
war.
count.
That don't count. That
You're
does
right.
not count.
Power Rangers, man.
Yes.
That was-
The broke
Yeah,
man's
that-
rip
that
off of
is-
Voltron.
I knew
Right.
X-Men. I knew X-Men.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's
All right,
man MEN Yella.
Do you remember the Super Friends? Do you remember the Justice League? And not the crazy
No.
movie that they not.
I knew Transformers.
Okay.
Okay.
Not the movies.
Transformers. All right.
That's it.
You didn't know
Not the movies.
Voltron. You didn't know Big O. You didn't.
How did I miss this?
I don't know.
What about the Thundercats? Tell me
I
you knew
know
about
Thundercats.
Okay.
What, okay.
Okay.
Do you know Silverhawks?
No.
Nope.
Yep.
She
He-Man.
doesn't. She doesn't.
He-
He-Man and the
I know
Masters of the
He-Man.
Universe.
Hold on,
yeah.
fellas. We got to give her that test because she's knowing names. So Miss Suzette
Okay.
speaks.
I'm
Easy
gonna
question.
fail. I
Easy
already know it.
question
Go
here.
ahead.
You said he mentioned Thundercats. You said yes. So who named 3 characters from
I
the
don't know
Thundercats?
3 characters.
You're out.
Easy.
You're
Oh,
out.
Jesus Christ.
You're out.
You don't know Lion-O?
You don't know and you don't know
Panthera?
Mumra of
Chitara?
all people.
Panthro?
Snarf?
Come on.
Snarf? You don't know
We
Snarf?
almost
Snarf.
Mumra.
I was watching My Little Pony and Care Bear Cousins.
Your parents did good for you.
There's-
I don't
Yes.
know
Real
what
well
you're
for you.
talking about.
Yes.
I
Did
don't
you
know.
watch wait, do you know the Smurfs?
Yes.
Okay.
Name 3 characters from-
Name 3 characters from the Smurfs.
Smurfette.
Okay, there you go.
Gargamel.
Okay.
There you go.
And what's the cat name? Azrael.
There you go. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right.
That's
Now we're working
it.
with
You get a
something.
semi-pass.
Yeah,
She gets a
I,
cookie.
But I don't know. I feel so lost. You guys are with. You guys know. I guess let me read the chat. Y'all must know what they're talking about.
yeah, 'cause
Where was I?
I do a bit on stage when I talk about the Thundercats and I talk about how we
Voltron.
almost had Panthro was. Think about it. Panthro is a panther, but he's purple.
Mm.
And I was like, I do a bit about how the guy made the pictures, like, you know, it was a militant guy like, "Lo, Jamal, we can't have a Black Panther on the show," because it was like, because he was the deepest black voice.
He was
The
definitely
bald
black.
head, he's got nunchucks, got coolest
I might as well
car.
just drop off my
He
license.
fixed everything too. He was like the mechanic engineer. He was definitely black.
Right.
He was black,
This
but
is
they had to make it
Gargamel, not a
like, look,
Smurf.
they're like, yo, Zach Gargamel, like, yo, Jamal, we can't have a Black Panther on the show. Like, come on, because it's Saturday morning cartoons. That's one of my great. But
What
Suzette
is
wouldn't even get the
going
bit.
on?
If she was the only person.
If
in
this
the
was on
audience-
like a Family Feud show, I would lose the game for y'all. If this was like on a Jeopardy question, I couldn't win the million. I couldn't. This is
You know,
scary.
Family Double Dare, we lose.
Sailor Moon. Don't invite me on a Family Feud.
Sailor Moon. I never watched that.
Oh my Jesus.
I know what it is, but I never watched
Yeah,
it.
I know
come on
it. I
every
never
early
watched it.
morning on WB, like 6 o'clock before you go to school.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Like anyone who watches anyone who's into art, like actual art, they don't. A lot of them become anime fans. Like
Yes.
the one for us, like growing up, the one for us was which was touted as a big rev.
We
Uh-oh.
lost you. We lost you.
There you go.
Internet.
There you go. It
I
happens.
can't
The trolls
remember
got him.
the
The trolls
90s.
got him.
No,
Suzette,
I'm like,
like,
I'm
you were
just
100%
amazed.
You're
So
100% a dancehall geek, dancehall reggae, whatever geek.
that's
You're
about it.
100%.
But my parents, I guess, didn't let me watch enough Saturday morning cartoons.
You was fine. You're fine. That's pretty much it's a preference for everybody coming up, but it's like another culture
I'm just
too.
like, where the hell was I?
And I'm glad you mentioned the point about another race, because it's all races. You know what I'm saying? That's why
Enjoyed this
yeah, that's a
it's
good
not like an American experience.
no, it's all over. It's universal, and that's a good thing about that one, because it's
Deep
actually put us,
connection.
Beyond America.
Yep.
it's actually put us together too, and that's what I like about it too, because it wasn't like when race
A
was like
race-based thing.
yeah,
right?
it wasn't,
Right.
because if you see a guy, let's say if I walk in a general dollar store, I had like a Link shirt on, and it says I'm come get some, a white girl like, oh my god, I love your shirt. Boom, that's a connection we can have.
So
It-
you're
it-
beyond race. It's just a human experience.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if you say come get some, first thing I'm thinking is Ash from the Evil Dead series.
Correct.
What?
That's the first. Yeah, Ash from the Evil Dead series. You should watch that. They're older films, okay?
You gotta
Dir-
make me a list. I don't
Directed
know
by
what-
Sam Raimi. Watch Evil Dead 1, 2. Evil Dead 3 is called The Army of Darkness. That's the funniest one. The first two are more like horror films, okay? But they're also hilarious at the same time.
The series is really
I don't
good
know.
too.
Yeah,
it's-
But
But
series-
Suzette needs to watch Afro Samurai before she watches.
Right, the
anything
Afro
else.
Samurai is this
That
character
might be a little
here.
advanced.
This character here is Afro Samurai. Everyone knows this character, Huey Freeman from the Boondocks.
Somebody drop an Afro Samurai in the chat if y'all know.
This
what
is
they are.
Black Dynamite, and that's Bushido Brown.
I'm
Bushido
sorry.
Brown.
Let me make you bigger. Sorry.
Yeah, that's Bushido Brown. here. This is Black Dynamite.
This is from what's that show?
But this is from the Boondocks.
Boondocks. That's
These
what I
two
read.
characters are from the Boondocks, right? This guy here is Afro Samurai. Again, this is one that I was saying that's not for children. It's not for kids.
Not for children
at all.
That's grown
at
up stuff.
all, Suzette. Just
Black
prepare yourself.
Samurai. It's like a 70s.
No.
Afro Samurai that was very new, and that's voiced by Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
Samuel L. Jackson's a big geek.
This is Black Dynamite. He's voiced by Michael Jai White.
I love him. He's so fine.
Yeah. And there's a live action movie of it, which is probably one of the funniest movies of all time. And Michael Jai White plays Black Dynamite.
All I know, he's fine. Anyway,
but just look how,
let me bring up SO Hopeful. Go ahead.
But look how big
just flash your screen so I can see you're a real person, and then you don't have to bring your face up. Okay.
And look at how geek culture has connected us here on the panel.
I'm just so impressed. And I realized I'm lost because I just didn't have this experience.
Yeah, like when better Gents, when I name something like Akira.
Who is whispering? Is that great?
You know what Akira is,
I think
right?
that was mixed.
Absolutely,
that might have been mixed.
What a great anime.
No, that was me. That's my
Cyberpunk, it's dope, man.
Just move for me, brother. Move.
You know what Vampire Hunter D was and
Vampire
the whole
Hunter
nine.
D is
Yeah.
Classic.
Like that was a big one in art culture. Akira was. It was revolutionary in art style and things like that. So it was like, after we watched that, it was like, yo, this is awesome, because it was all hand drawn and hand colored animation.
Yeah,
it really is something to marvel at. You look at how much work went into that.
Let me ask the fellas this real quick. I don't know what happened to Suzette. I'm sure she'll be back. She'll probably take a quick.
I'm here, but y'all might as well just have a show without me, because I'm gonna just drop down and let y'all talk. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask y'all, going back to these negative connotations with the definition of nerd and geek, but you look how geekdom has joined, with 6 strangers right here.
Correct.
And another, I don't know how many in the chat, right? I think it's a good thing. I mean, so what are your guys' thoughts on that? Better, Jen, since you're the guest.
Yeah, for sure. I think we gotta redefine what it is to be a nerd. You know what I'm saying? I think that happens over time. You think back in like the 80s, you thought the word gamer, that was like a negative thing as well. But nowadays, kids are aspiring to be, the top gamer. There's a value there. And so, yes, nerd typically has a negative connotation to it. But I think as the things that make us nerds become more acceptable and more mainstream, and as we embrace those things, we can change that definition. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what and that's kind of what this stream is about, this live stream. It's like, is the definition of a nerd, does it really have to be a negative thing, or can we be nerds in our own way and still, and it not be a detriment to who we are?
And brother S.O. Hopeful just jumped in. I'm pretty sure Suzette would want him to get in.
Appreciate that. Thanks for that warm welcome. I appreciate y'all for letting me on the panel. But yeah, I was trying to figure out, as far as for good, definitions for nerd or geek, what would y'all say those were? I mean, because I know it's a lot of negative, like you said, being hermits and being, to themselves. But what would be something that you would say is like a good attribute?
Well, I'll leave Mandrell's example I said earlier, because I know you mentioned in chat that that nerds is pretty much isolated, not really doing much, but that's 100% not true. Me personally, in my experience, I feel like it was like a momentary escape, something that you can get away from. And I was more drawn to the artwork of it, because I used to doodle a lot in my high school years. And but I know now people always consider it, try to make these little negative nicknames, comic incel or this incel, but actually not learning the actual definition of the word. But back then it was a way of me expressing myself. I know many professional comics for what's her name, Jessica Jones, one of them. You might thought he was dark, but he was very intelligent. It was just escape for me. There's no actually word for it. It's just a way of life for me growing up. If I came home from work, doing my homework and stuff like that, and then it was just something I love. I wasn't staring at the TV. I wasn't even media. If media was now, back then, it would never be my outlet. It would just be more of the comics, more of the animation, or the other shows that the fellas named for me. That would just be for me. But I don't know. For the other people, I can't really speak on that because I try not to even focus on those negative people. I'm more, if I catch across, like say, Better Gents or DL, if those guys have a shirt or something that of an anime I never seen, like the new Springer just coming out for Netflix, I'm geeking out over it. Like, hey, brother, did you see that? And I don't even know his name. You know what I'm saying? And we'll sit there, maybe have a 30-hour-minute conversation, and we'll bond. You know what I'm saying? And we'll push forward from there. So that is me.
And Mandrill, what are your thoughts on that, bro?
I would say cultured. I mean, because nerds. I mean, we're into all manner of things. You know what I'm saying? From computers to art to sci-fi. Which, you get into sci-fi, that opens the floodgates for a whole lot of things in science. You know what I mean? It did for me. But so I say one is cultured. Another one is versatile. Open-minded. All these things. I mean, and just because you're a nerd doesn't mean you're not cool.
Right. And I would throw in there pro G. Right. You could be a nerd. You could be a G and be a nerd and be a G. Cool nerd. I think brother Gents was right. Society is starting to change that connotation to nerd because everyone. You got a special forces operator over here. People, I'm trying to tell y'all, this man was a Green Beret. Y'all have no idea how tough that is. Right. I was airborne. Yeah, that was hard. But going through selection, going through what he did, making it to the teams, shout out to you, brother. But here we are talking about cartoons, talking about nerd culture. You dig? So, and for you guys who just popped in here, this is the SuzetteSpeaks show. Suzette's off to the side real quick. Just y'all on the right page. Don't go away nowhere. Like and subscribe. This is SuzetteSpeaks. But those are the words that I would use on there. Like I guess we're just gonna have to change that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I leave with action too.
Action, yeah, all that, all those. It just the connotation. I think is going to slowly shift to where we are. It's just the terms and definitions and nomenclatures hasn't caught up to what? How many generations in now we are with this tech generation? You know what I mean? We got to be 4 or 5 generations in. So everyone's a nerd. You have to be just to work this. Right, I still have trouble with this, but my daughter, oh my God, I got to go to her to get help. Hey, how do I make the phone do this? How do I make the phone do that? How do I make a thumbnail?
So here's the joke: the reason why this society changed because thing that nerd love to get into is making a lot of money. Let's be honest. Anime is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Netflix created a studio for that in Japan. The gaming industry back then, everybody make funny about people who like to play games, but right now, people can get paid huge amount of money. The top 10 gamers in the world are paying more than $2 to $3 million just to not only play video games, also to test them out. Yeah, gaming competition. Now, what else? Another thing the Marvel and the DC, they're trying to incorporate with everything else what we're doing with anime. It's a big global phenomenon.
Yeah,
People
Disney
are
too.
selling anime across the world. The PC industry, I'm a PC nerd. They will tell you, me and Mandrill, we go head to head trying to figure out what would be the best thing. You should be make fun of people who like to build PC. In Japan, they turn it into you don't understand. It's a crazy market right now.
Yeah,
Building
I've
the
seen
best
it.
PC, you have PT competition. You have Asus, you got MSI, you have Intel games, you got Nvidia. The best,
EVGA.
the best PT being made, they get money for that. They customize the PT, showing their skill and their talent. The problem is, people don't get it. There's so much great thing behind being a nerd. It's not a bad thing, it's a great thing. But you have something beside a nerd, the thing called otaku. Now that's more or adding
Yeah.
of the anime to the PC to it's a whole deep end. I'm not gonna talk about that. But being a nerd, there's nothing wrong with it. You make money, you have more fun, you're able to go to play, you're able to see things most people not gonna see at all.
That's what's up.
Japan is the nerd city. If you think about it.
It is. That's the Mecca, and that's Canadian-born Nigerian, I
Like,
believe it was. Yeah, Canadian-born Nigerian. Welcome to the chat. I'm not
hey,
taking over, y'all. I'm just helping out because Suzette is
I'm
chilling
just
right
saying
now.
because that's
No,
one
y'all
You're a
country I
stop
would
great
love to
host,
this
go.
DL.
sounding
You're great.
dumb. I'm appreciative of this because I feel like anything I'm gonna add is not adding anything. Oh, sorry, I didn't put my camera on. I don't feel like I'm equipped to have an adequate conversation, and I do not want to
No,
embarrass
don't don't think
belittle
that.
or minimize what you guys are talking about because it clearly has had
I,
like an
I'm the
impact.
same way.
So I'm just like I feel out of my depth That's why I was like, I'm just gonna let them talk because
And
Hey,
and
So
and
hey,
so and SO Hopeful, did that answer your question, bro?
I'm gonna drop back down.
Yeah, nah, that's what I'm saying. Because I don't know. I mean, I know as far as for me, all I know is when we was growing up, the nerds was the ones who was in the house. They wasn't coming outside. They were, you know what
no,
I'm saying? They was inside, maybe
no,
playing with Legos or
we were the
making
undercover.
model
We were the
car, whatever they
undercover.
was into. But it
Legos.
didn't involve
Legos.
people. You know what I mean? It
That's for
didn't involve
children.
people. Is all I know.
I
You know
know
what
where
I
the
mean? Most of the nerds, you
I
know what
don't
I'm
know where you
saying?
grew up.
They wasn't outside.
I
Hey,
know where the
so
brother's
SO,
coming from, though. I know where he's coming from. I do. Like I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. It's the same thing. There was those kids who did stay in the house doing whatever they was doing. They wasn't out in the streets. Now
Mm-hmm.
I was in the streets, but I still was exposed to, like I said, I was exposed to Robotech. I was exposed to even Battlestar Galactica,
ooh,
Buck Rogers. Like we get
oh,
into all
In
this
the
other kind of
21st
stuff. In the
century.
21st
What did
century,
you
I was still
ooh.
exposed to all this stuff, but I was still in the
Buck
streets.
I'm a
Rogers.
mecha nerd. I'm sorry. You just speaking mecha language right now.
Right, but to brother Essa, where are you from, bro? Like, if you don't mind me asking.
I'm from the city,
Which
Like
one?
northeast, like
and
northeast south.
nation's capital.
Oh,
Okay,
DC. Oh, yeah,
DC.
dude,
Okay,
that's a
got
whole
you.
nother world. That was a whole nother world, and it was out. It was dangerous outside. It was dangerous inside. I know people who were like ducking in their pool in their tubs,
Dangerous.
bro. It was a lot of bullets getting flying around in DC. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Unless
but I
you,
mean, it
unless you
wasn't
from the,
intended for you.
Can
You
I
good.
can
unless
I
you,
jump
What's
in?
that?
unless you from the '80s and you live out in New York
Stay out the
City,
way.
Red Hook was the worst neighborhood to be in broad daylight.
Gentlemen, can I jump in or am I audible?
Yes, yes,
What's going
yes.
on?
Yes,
This is
sir.
Tobias, the traveler. So I heard Mandrill, right, mention Robotech and Akira. And, I'm 42, right? So my nerddom went back was, martial arts,
Ooh,
anime, was this martial arts, anime, video games, and sci-fi. I remember like watching The Next Generation, like 12 years old at 11 o'clock, right, waiting on
Yep.
Captain Picard to come home. But Akira, that anime, that
ooh, that
Akira
was it.
and
Yes.
Fist of the North Star,
No, I got something better
right?
than
Fist of the North
Akira.
Star. Yeah.
Fit of the
Right?
North Star,
Yeah,
Thunder Sub.
Akira.
Let him
Yeah,
talk.
yeah. Hey, Akira, Fist of the North Star, and then when he I forgot who it was who mentioned Robotech back in like 85, 86 with Rick Hunter. And dude, I got the whole collection still. And folks would come to my house, right? A lady might come over and she'd be like, "What's this?" Right? Because I have the actual DVD set, and it surprises them. Like, "Whoa, you still collect this?" Absolutely. Now it's not like the only thing, but I believe it helped form who we are today. And yeah, I work in tech like a lot of folks. Shout out to everybody who works in tech, whether you're on the sales side or the product side, like me, development and all that. But yeah, it being a nerd today, it still has a negative connotation. But what's something funny is we build the world, right? Or at least the technology side of it. We make it easier for other folks to have their conveniences.
Yeah, but the thing is, for me, yeah, to be fair, the
Oh,
negative connotation has never really bothered me.
me either.
Yeah, I got them, but I mean, I was like, so I'm still gonna
Now,
watch what I watch and do what I do. But you know what I'm saying? So
you know
didn't
something
stop
else?
me.
Now, also, right, just a little bit more about myself. I grew up doing, martial arts, karate, a whole bunch of stuff. And I
Same
had,
here.
I played a lot of Street Fighter 2. A lot of cats, right, we play that motherfucker. They want to run their mouth, right? Oh, you can't do this, right? And, when it came down to it, and my sisters, my cousins, other cats I grew up with, they were like, "You don't want to see Tobias." Right, to this, but some of my family or cats I grew up with, they're like, "You was a ninja in high school, right? You was on Mervin's roof with ninja swords and ninja stars. You was that guy." Like, yeah, they thought I was Shokasugi from Revenge of the Ninja. See who remember that movie?
I remember.
That's
Tobias.
Use
Yes,
that
sir.
guy to other nerds. Like I'm saying, like
Oh
a
no,
lot
I
of
was
the
that.
nerds, they would
I,
hang out with themselves.
you
They
know
would
what?
have their own little cliques. You know what I'm saying?
True,
But
they could. But you know what? Me aside from like martial arts, I was heavily like in my high school years because I graduated in '98. I was heavily into breakdancing. Me and my boys were traveling all over the United States, b-boy, and some of them you probably already seen on TV. So, but that was my thing, and people still consider, oh, you a b-boy, you a nerd, like yeah, but your girl staring at me. it's it is what it is, man. We
Yeah,
embrace it, own it.
But to Esso's point,
I just want to add that I don't think you guys are straight nerds. It doesn't sound like it to me.
yeah, we
I'm
all
just
over the place.
sorry
Yeah.
because you guys you b-boying, you break dancing,
DJing.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
and to brother Esso's point, I bet you if you hollered at the people in your crew that you came up with, or if they're watching this stream, they'll be like, "Yeah, bro, we rock with that, we rock with this." But here's the thing: when I went out, I wasn't talking about, Robotech to my homeboy. I wasn't talking about that. We were doing other things. So anime did not come up. So and the same thing when I was playing
I don't
football.
know if I consider you a nerd though, Saint.
Oh, that's
What
what
that
you
mean?
Well, but
You know what I
see
mean,
where it's
though.
coming
You get what I
from.
mean? Like nerds,
No,
they have a certain, you know what I'm saying? It's like a certain, way about them. It's not necessarily going to be where they all, fit into one category. But as far as for that one category that they have in common is like somebody in the chat said, they'll alienate people with their intellect. Like, your levels beyond, say for instance, somebody who, has no idea what Marvel Universe is, and you're like, oh my gosh, you don't know about Marvel? Let me tell you about it. And let me, start with, back when in the beginning of time type.
What
And it's like,
Tobias was saying.
yeah, but Esso, you literally just explained what we just said versus with Suzette, because Suzette speaks it. I don't know, so we didn't alienate her. We said, hey, come on down the road, open the door for you.
And that's totally fine. I clearly
she got
am
off the
different.
panel. She
That's
was
a
on
good
the
point.
panel,
She
got
did
off the
leave.
panel. Like, yo, y'all are
No, I was just like, okay, I'm
y'all
lost.
don't even
Let me
know.
just sit down. I know when I'm.
Yeah, but
just-
again, we didn't alienate her. She chose to get off.
No, I wanted to listen.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be up here like, oh, what looking
But
crazy every time you guys say something new.
But I think we can all agree that the point being made that there
That's my
are
point.
those who did that. There are those who would alienate you or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then there are those who do not. Obviously, we are ones that do not. But to his point, like if someone's gonna see me, then they're gonna be like, that's the nerd. You're not gonna pick me out of a nerd lineup. And I get where he's coming from. I would say the same thing to Brother Esso. If I saw him, if he's lined up with a bunch of nerds and we're looking for somebody that just punched somebody and took their wallet, I'd probably be looking at Brother Esso like that's probably him right there.
So,
You know
Brother
what I
Esso,
mean?
do you believe yourself to be a nerd because you know all of this stuff? Shout out to Needs Watching.
No.
You describe
see,
nerds
that's
to
the
the
thing.
T. You was like, they stay in the house.
Yeah, I can smell a nerd. I can
You're
smell
like,
it.
I know what they about, but you're not a nerd.
Yeah, no, at one time I was. At one time, you know what I'm saying? Because look, I got the glasses, you know what I mean?
I can't
it was a lot of the
like elementary
oh,
school
wait,
nerd and then
sorry.
turn to a different person.
So yeah, pretty much what happened was it wasn't like it was you know what I'm saying, a big switch. It just you start talking to more people and find out a lot of that shit you into, they not into. Like they, you know what I mean?
I hear you.
You know what I mean? You try to tell them about you know what I'm saying, Ghost in the Shell or something, and they like, what? You watching cartoons? And, you know what I mean? Like once you get to a certain age, they was on some we don't watch cartoons types. It's like, what? Cartoons is this shit, you know? But you know, certain people, you have certain groups that you speak about those things with, and then other people, you talk about other stuff.
I love it. So you have an awareness of not a part of the tribe. I get it. Shout out to everyone that says yes.
No, I feel like they are a part of the tribe. They alienate themselves. You don't think so? Like
we got to look at that definition, because when we say alienate, it's like, and I understand what you're saying, but I think that's a human emotion, not a quote unquote nerd tribe. Because if I could literally look at these brothers right here, I can't pick them out a lineup if the cop said, you know what, brother, I need that nerd now so we get 5 to 10, and I'll be breaking my neck and eyeballs trying to pick out one. But if Mandrill, because all he talk about his background, his life, nerd never comes up. But again, if the conversation comes up, his eyes light up. You know what I'm saying? Like these brothers, they faces light up. So
it was a whole different level. I was like, okay,
exactly.
Let me step back because I am lost and they are pumped to be talking about what they're talking about.
But
and I admired it more than anything.
Yes.
Interesting. So do nerds win in the long run then? Is that what we're pretty much saying? Hey, Canadian born Nigerian, I saw your point. Shout out to everyone supporting the podcast. Appreciate you. Better Gents doing a little OT. I told him I'd have him out by fourth quarter, y'all. So we're gonna go for about 15 more minutes or so. Yes, my boy's up. Dub Nation, let's go. I had to go check the score too. But
I don't know.
Nerds
you
win
saying
in
do
the long
nerds?
run, even though in the maybe in the younger years they are given such a hard time, misunderstood, pushed to the side, judged, called weird.
Let me say this. I'm an MMA nerd, and people who Google out on MMA or boxing, they made a living out of that.
Yeah.
I used to watch so many MMA fight and call out the mistakes they made and point out what they could have done next, what they could have countered this thing, how they would have countered that move. And people think I'm crazy. I said, nah. I have a mixed martial bag. I did shit to a karate. Me and Mandel will Google about what we have done, what we could have done. He did karate, he did jiu-jitsu. So if we come to
Is
watching
that
a
considered
sport fight,
nerdy? Jiu-jitsu and karate? Karate?
Yeah, that's nerdy, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's nerdy.
Now,
Not today. It's not, but back then it was.
Back then
back
it
then it was
was.
nerdy.
Because
Now
the thing is, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, people know now that it's not a joke.
Shout out to the Gracies.
Right here's because that's like I tell people all the time, like, you practice jiu-jitsu? It's funny to find someone else who practices it. I'm like, yeah. Oh, so and then they come with me like 1,000 questions. I'm like, how long you been training? This, that, and the other. And like it's like Angela said, Great Bill said, when you find commonality like that, their faces light up.
It's like a boom. It's like
it's like boom. Finally, someone else talks to about it.
Can I ask Canadian-born jiu-jitsu a question?
Go ahead.
Canadian-born Nigerian. How long have you been into MMA? Like,
I've been into MMA since my junior in high school. I did shooting quarterback in Nigeria. I did it for like maybe 2.5 years. I almost traveled for the inter-school Olympic, but other school was not in that competition. So we did like a demonstration for that. Then when I came back to the state around 2008, 2009, no, that was 1999. I came back. I heard of UFC. I was trying to audition for UFC, which I made 3 or 4 tryouts, which I was really pissed off because I wanted to test my man to see how far I can get. Because for one, I know people who are joining UFC, they're not really built into it. Like some people who started from a very young age. I was hoping I could get paid to dismantle people. It would be a cool thing. That's just me.
I asked, right, because I was a massive MMA fan for a long time. I lived in Thailand for a while. I've done a lot of Muay Thai.
Pi PC?
Bing
Pi FC? I'm talking about that promotion.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not talking about a promotion. I'm talking about I lived and trained in the country of Thailand.
Wow.
Right, doing
So
Muay Thai.
So you did Muay Thai boxing?
Yes. Now, but I was going to say, right? I discovered MMA in 2003, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, not really discovered. It was back in like 1993. Folks was renting the VHS tapes from Blockbuster, like when in here.
I did the same thing.
Exactly.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, now, but I really got into it. It was like 2002, 2003. Are you familiar with Pride FC?
Yes.
Yeah, Pride FC. That was run by the mafia.
The Yakuza, yeah.
Yes.
Yakuza.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the Yakuza.
I didn't say M-word. I'm not
Who
gonna
was
mention
their
the
most dominant? Okay, out of Fedor.
Hold on, we in a rabbit
went
hole.
too deep.
Fedor,
No,
I
it's
can't
Fedor.
say he's the most dominant. I think some of these matches are being rigged for him to win because there's some fighters that could have whooped him behind plenty of
like
times.
Don Fry. Like Don
Thank
Fry.
you.
Google the manliest fight of all time. Not
Fry
Google
and
it,
Takayama.
YouTube it. Yeah,
There's Don Fry and
Fry. These two
Takayama.
guys sat in the ring and grabbed each other by the back of the head and punched each other over and over and over again for like 2 minutes straight. They just stood there, grabbed each other, and punched each other in the face.
And Suzette, see, yet another example. But here's the thing: yet another example how strangers can relate and geek on. Now we went from talking about cartoon to MMA.
What I can see is how this can give you a corporate advantage. Because if y'all sit in a corporate meeting and talk with the guys, not saying it's just not
I'm
a
glad you
gender
said that, Suzanne.
but this is a what should I say? Like a what should I say? An unspoken
unspoken bond.
It's a cheat code, Suzanne. It's a cheat code.
It's
brotherhood.
like,
I'm glad you just said that.
So your university people say is a first kind of intro that people can say, oh, you're a bulldog, or TLA will be like, I'm a bulldog, and all the bulldogs like, oh yeah, and it's kind of common bond, I guess is the right way you were saying. Yeah, so I'm like, this is a whole nother way to relate beyond gender, race, if you will. But clearly, I'm lost.
Well, Niece Watches said the same thing with time.
I think this is a good thing. This gives you like a corporate advantage in a good way.
Suzanne, let me tell you something. I'm glad you said that. I used to work for Tenor Bank. My manager, who into MMA, he trained under Michael J. White, the same guy who the actor or Spawn.
The fine one. I know who Michael J. White is. I know who that is.
I said, hold on, you trained with who again? I said, Michael Jordan. And you showed me the picture. I think he was your sensei. I think yes. I said, how was he? Did you whoop your ass? He's like, man, he no. And I was
I
jealous
love
of him.
it.
We were geeking out. He was my manager, my boss. And to find out he actually trained with the guy I wanted to train with for so long. I was bugging the guy out, asking him questions left and right. He told me, man, this man is no joke. He will beat you up, start you again, he'll beat you up again to make you get a hang of it. I was like, man, I'm jealous.
So that was a bond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So nerd bonding, they're saying, not male bonding. Okay, I get it.
But it's the same thing that nerds that needs watching.
Okay, we got it. Yeah, because y'all talking about some deep stuff with the karate and the beautiful Muay Thai and all that. But I'm just like, it's a beautiful thing to see how you guys can like pick up on one thing, and just like, again, the rabbit hole is easy to go down. So for those of us who are outside this rabbit hole, I'm like, dang, I'm lost. I need to catch up.
But to answer your question about nerds finishing first or last or whatever,
yeah,
it boils down to the man again. If you are a guy who lives in the basement and you're out of shape and you're socially awkward and you don't have a job, a real job, you have no career goals, right? And they'll say, well, he's a nerd. Well, that guy's gonna finish last. Well, yeah,
okay.
But it doesn't matter if he's a nerd because he's into anime. You know what I mean? And he's not doing better for him life. That has nothing to do with the fact that he's into anime, right? So to say that nerds.
Okay, so you can't make that generalization. I understand.
No,
I see you, Vondell.
Right.
The panel is closed. I'm gonna watch this fourth quarter. Hello.
I ain't mad
the panel is closed.
But I wanted to get that point out there. It has nothing to do with
no. I
see
see what you're saying,
like that.
And I'm gonna bring up Vondell. Panel is closed. I'm loving the convo. I hear you. Some of the ladies in the chat are like, "What is going on?" The nerds are ran to show off the rails. I don't think it's off the rails. Shout out to, did he drop down, Tobias the Traveler? I didn't get to say thank you. Thank you, Tobias. He probably moving up and down because usually he'll be seated at his nice setup and ready to talk. So I know sometimes when you are on the move. But yes, so do nerds finish last, or do smart guys end up, with the bag, I guess, and the ladies? It sounds like y'all moving in both directions. It pays to be smart. Let's get up the likes, though. I want to get to 100, just like the Warriors. I was just kidding. And yeah, please hit the like button if you wouldn't mind. I want to get Vondell's ideas, and then we'll get kind of final thoughts about this nerddom and its benefits. It doesn't sound like a lot of drawbacks after you kind of get past the kind of rough stages of being in the house and getting, baby bullied or whatnot. Vondell, how are you?
Hello, Susan. How are you today? Hello to my fellow nerd tribe out there.
What's up, Vondell?
What? Do I need to drop that down?
Yo.
What are your thoughts tonight, Vondell?
Oh, my thoughts tonight is that nerds are the ones that rule the world. That's what they say. That's what they do. Nerds are going to be like the Revenge of the Nerds in the 1980s. You better be careful about bullying those nerds, because those nerds are going to be not only your boss, but they can take over the world. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Look at Elon Musk. Yeah, so don't be picking on no nerds. You better be careful, because that's your boss, and they can fire you.
Let's go. You wanted to chime in better, Gents? Go ahead.
No. Do nerds finish last? Is the question?
Yeah.
What's finishing? Like, what's the definition of winning?
Good life in general, good family, good income. Contention.
Susan speaks.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Vondell, Suzette. But go ahead, baby.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an intelligent nerd, I think intelligence is a long-term game. Right. And that's sustainable over time. And if you want to be successful in life, intelligence definitely helps to do that. And, just focusing on what it is that you
I'm talking about the nerds. You're talking about the nerds and intelligence, Mom. So.
Mute, baby. Mute, Vondell. I'm gonna mute you just while he talking, okay?
There you go.
But we talked about it earlier, specializing in something specific so that you can be invaluable to an organization or whatever it is that you do. And so I don't know if it takes a nerd to do that. Like, anyone can really do that. So whether or not nerds in the end win, I think it depends on the person, to be honest. And I think DL touched on that. You could be a nerd, and you could be a nerd in your basement and you're going to lose. Or you could be a nerd, and you could be a nerd who gets out there and you're a mover and a shaker, like Kevin Samuels, God rest his soul. That guy was a lame, that guy was a nerd, but he made the world a different place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I
it's not
realized that he was a nerd.
necessarily
I didn't
he
realize
was
that at
definitely
first.
a nerd. He's a
Yeah.
lame, a square, a
Mhm.
nerd, but he changed the game. You know what I'm saying? And
When he
so
quoted the last part, "Winter is coming," I already knew he was a nerd.
yeah,
He's quoting
But
Game of
I
absolutely.
Thrones.
love Game of
Right.
Thrones. Is that
So
still qualify me? I'm a game. I could probably quote something from Game of Thrones.
Yes, you're a nerd.
Have you read
That's
the books?
about it. I know most of the scenes. I've watched it at least 3-4 times the whole season.
All
There
right,
you
you're good.
go.
You're good. You're good.
I'm a
good.
nerd.
No.
No.
We ain't going
You're
that far
after
now.
this.
Entry
No,
level nerd.
you're still on your after.
I'm an
Entry.
entry. Yeah, I'm
No,
a. Oh,
wait till,
geez.
wait till.
Angela said,
That's
no.
I
entry level.
love. I could
Yeah,
write
entry
a
There are many
level.
levels.
dissertation about
Thank
Game
you,
of
thank you,
Thrones.
Black David, by your grace.
But I'm only an entry level. Thank you. Thank
You
you.
read a
I've made
dissertation?
entrance.
Have you read the books?
No.
Oh, do yourself a favor.
Yeah,
Is
the
it better
books
than
is
the
way
movie?
better. Yes, the
Is
books
it?
are way
Far
better.
superior.
Wow. Okay,
Far
that
books
may be
are-
on
superior.
the to-do list.
The
That
books
Yes.
are almost always better. When I was deployed at Desert Storm and there was a pile of books, and Mandrilla tell you at least back then, you just grab stuff off a pile. It was a pile of books, and I read The Predator too, the
Mhm.
book. Way better than the movie because it told you exactly what the Predator was thinking. It told you more backstory, more backstory on the characters and this and that. Way better than the movie. And there were 3 or 4 books that I read that were movies that I was like, wow, you know what I mean? It made me look at the movie differently. So yeah, that's part of geeking out. That's part of
All right,
nerding,
I
you know what
finally
mean?
got in, Ebony. Yes, darling. They qualified me under one on. I don't know if Dan Saul can
No,
Game of
qualify me.
Thrones.
papers in processing. Papers is in processing.
But
Lord
my
of the
thing
I have
is,
Rings.
not
Lord of the
been
Rings.
really admitted yet to the bar of the
but my thing is,
nerddom.
but if you're that, if you watch Game of Thrones 3 times, you can quote stuff
Like
from
I have not dressed up as the Game of Thrones people though.
it. Okay,
No,
cool.
you don't have to.
You don't have to. You don't have to cosplay.
Okay, that's why I was like, I ain't going
Yeah.
that far.
And
but I
Kevin
love-
Samuels, I knew he was a nerd when he recognized One Piece. Then I was like, okay, look. Then when he recognized One Punch Man, I said, you're a geek. You're a
Oh my
nerd,
goodness.
dude. You recognize
So
One Punch
I
Man?
saw something, and I don't mean to interrupt because I want to get on to a couple things I see in the chat. This is a nerd summit. Well put, Sunbreeze. Welcome to the Nerd Summit. I feel like I'm a part of a club that is like gently, beckoning me to come. I am not necessarily in it yet, but I'm understanding it more. I'm like, oh my god, if I get a husband that's a nerd,
Suzette, did you ask if there are any nerd females in the chat?
That's okay. You
There
read my
are
mind,
some.
DL. Yes.
Damn it, a nerd.
Only movie I can quote is Dance All Queen. So I'm trying to think. Chemo wrote a quote in the chat or made a statement in the chat that said nerds date down. I'm like, oh, what are we trying to say?
Men date down. We had that discussion.
Yeah, I feel like when I was asking, do y'all win in the end, as opposed to a jock, let's say the 2 stereotypes of high school, nerd, jock, whatever. Quality of life, quality of relationships, quality in terms of, I guess, external success and then internal peace. I don't know that every nerd will have the same outcome. Of course, we talked about there's levels. We talked about, people are smart, people are challenged in all the other ways, that we talked about, right? Morals and, just how their mind when they were born was made. So, and then how they apply themselves, the work ethic. Okay. So there's some of that too. So I don't know. Do nerds win? I guess we would have to say most of the time, or if we're drawing that conclusion, or we're going to say they do end up, in happy, healthy, and, economically stable circumstances many times. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, is there a larger conclusion I can draw from this show? Am I trying to paint too much of a broad brush? Y'all stop me. But
No, it's like
be
the
honest,
brother
says
said.
according to the definition of this show, not the real nerds.
Yeah, it's like the brother said earlier. The 2 brothers up top, they said it perfectly. Is this if you had social awareness, if you get out more, if you had the goals of you wanted to date or whatever. Like me personally, I was a nerd. Geeked out on stuff I like to watch, the cartoons every Saturday mornings, but I never had that issue. You know what I'm saying? I was a quote unquote, if you want to call it a pretty boy. I used to quote, somebody compared me to the old classic, I think it was the 80s movie, Lover Boy. I was that guy. He was a geek. He was in his own right, a nerdy geek. He didn't know, but also women was teaching him, and he just blossomed and evolved, and then I just moved forward.
I have to watch this one too. Lover Boy. Miss Masamico, someone with your audio going on. Bondell, I'm gonna get back to you. Then we're gonna get final comments going on. So I just needed to know, this is why I did the show. Where do Black women meet nerds? That's what we were trying to get to.
That's easy.
No, it's not. Where is that?
Conventions. Yeah, we're everywhere.
We're everywhere and
Conventions,
nowhere.
We are
Barnes
everywhere.
and Noble, Books a Million. I mean, the grocery store.
Mandrell, while you're
Walmart.
talking, do you know this quote?
Best Buy.
What? Walk
You know this
around,
quote?
talk-
Well, what is
Bubba
it?
Clock dead? No, it's some reggae stuff. I don't.
No, it's not reggae. Link's quoted it too. You know where this is from?
Talking
Dance
Bubba
Hall
Clock
Queen.
dead. No.
Dance Hall Queen, the movie. Who said that?
Oh, the mixed match himself.
Ah, you are my type of nerd. Y'all don't even know what this is.
But
You
Yeah.
I'm
have to
thinking
say
about
it with
reggae.
the
I didn't know what
right
it was.
I'm off. Look at
word.
that. I'm off the
Walk
panel.
Never heard
and
that.
live. Talk and bomb.
One point for Suzette. One good point for Suzette.
Yeah,
Let me just say this: in nerddom, there's a hierarchy and a different type of kingdoms.
Yeah.
The highest level of the nerddom are wizards. We call those people wizards. They're like the brainchild of what they do. Things that you had to scratch your head a couple of times. What did they do? How did they pull that one off? Like, are you kidding me? And they're everywhere, and they're hot. I hate to say that, but 80% of the people in nerddom actually make way too much money. Either
So do
they're a
you
doctor,
ever meet
they're a
nerds,
scientist.
Canadian-born Nigerian, that make you uncomfortable with nerdom? You ever meet a super nerd that's more nerdy than you? Like, damn.
No, not uncomfortable. I feel like, damn, I'm jealous. Like, where you get this? Like,
Who is talking in your background? Who is
that's
talking?
my
Who is
my
talking?
kids. My
Oh,
kids.
okay. No
But here's
problem.
the thing: I met a wizard at one of my projects I worked on. This guy, I don't know what he did. A PT dropped dead. He took out a hard drive, which was died out, made it work again, which it's kind of hard to do, and we covered the data on a corporate setting. I'm like, you a wizard. Ain't no way you can pull that one off. And I've been doing IT for 20 years, which I know Mando go quote my slang sooner or later. But when you see people do things that unheard of and never being put in books and actually made it work, then you realize, okay, he's on a different level.
Wow.
You don't get
So you
mad,
were
but you
jealous
get
of
jealous.
his nerddom. You weren't
Like,
intimidated by it. You were
you
like,
wouldn't
dang.
intimidate. You just want to be under him and learn from him and pick his
It's the kind
brain.
yeah, you want to learn from those guys for sure.
So
get- you-
again, this is the question of the hour.
I'm
Where
giving
do
you an
Black
answer.
women have to go to find? I just heard Barnes and Nobles. That's it.
No, Barnes & Noble, Comic Con.
If you're in Atlanta, there's Dragon Con that happens late
Star Wars
August.
Game Center.
But
Game
guys,
Star
we
Wars
have to do
convention.
homework so we
areas.
know what they're talking about clearly.
Yeah.
If you're in Miami, I'll be at Komodo. You can catch a nerd there. I'll be in
Right,
there.
there you
I'll be
go.
at Vendome, Komodo.
Really?
Like I'm just saying. My point is this: nerds are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
everywhere. You wouldn't know from I'm sitting in the VIP with these big ballers. You wouldn't know that I'm
You
a nerd.
don't
You think
qualify, deal. Stop going.
what
like
do you
that,
mean?
nerd.
Why not? I qualify on this.
Yeah,
panel?
you did. You did know every single thing. Okay,
I
maybe.
and the thing is, you threw me in the nerd category quick.
Listen, your background
thing.
alone.
But
Who
DL knows.
knew
But
what
DL knows
those
what I did in the
meant?
army. I did the most unnerdy thing in the army that you could possibly do.
Tip of the spear.
Right. So I mean, I got up here. Oh yeah, Mandrell, you're
No,
you're a
Mandrell,
nerd.
the way you already had these references, I was like, no, I'm lost. You have
But
to
here's
be a
the
nerd.
thing.
You can find another pool hall. I play
What about
pool.
the Renaissance Fair? RM says the Renaissance Fair. Where's
Those
that?
I don't know if they'd be into those
Yeah,
kind of nerds.
that-
That's
that-
that's-
That's a nerd 'em.
RM, I
a-
don't think
yeah.
that's the right one.
That's
What
a
is
different-
Maybe I'll go to
Blurred?
gym.
Is there something called BlurredCon, or did we just make that up?
I think he just made it up.
We need that.
I don't know what that is, but
Apparently,
all
you
real
can be a
talk.
nerd in any field. I don't know. Y'all some well-rounded nerds.
Just
But
find
I-
the guy at the bar by himself drinking expensive tequila or expensive whiskey. That's the nerd. And that's the
Okay.
one you want to talk to.
Real
Absolutely.
Real talk.
All right.
The-
We're
If you
looking
find a
at
guy in the pool hall
and the nice
calculating
watch.
the angle,
Do you wear nice
trying to
watches
beat
too?
somebody out of their money, that's a nerd. Don't play pool. You'd be surprised. They use algebra to play pool.
They
Join
use
an
algebra
MMA
to play pool? Okay.
Yeah, join an MMA school.
I did it several
Like
times. I want to play
the one I go to, the one I train at, it's full of nothing but nerds. But at the same time, these guys go to competitions, win gold medals. They
These
go
are
to
grown
fight,
men?
grown men. They go to fights and win, right? And we go
And
to
some of them
actual
are
occasions.
black?
Yeah,
They're
we actually
black?
go to a lot of them are black. We actually go to cage fights and win actual sanctioned MMA fights. And these guys are just, you talk to them all,
I'm
after you
trying to
talk
think
to them,
where's
they're
my nearest
nerds.
MMA.
They're nerds. Yeah,
Hold
these
on
guys
now.
are nerds, and they just get in the cage and handle business. Go to jiu-jitsu competitions. Handle business.
Yeah, go get a smoothie. We are everywhere.
They're
Like, when I say men,
everywhere.
just men
Ladies,
geek
I'm
out
trying to
on
help
stuff.
out. I'm trying to help everybody out. They not. I don't know if I believe them.
Everywhere and
Out
nowhere.
there.
If you go somewhere, Suzette, how many times you met a guy who could tell you everything about a car? He could tell you not just a Ferrari, but every single Ferrari ever made. The seats, what's inside, the
Yes.
engines, all
Yes.
that. That's nerddom. That's geekdom.
Should we go back to GameStop? I'm nervous about meeting someone at GameStop.
Why are you nervous about that?
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
know.
Best Buy. Go to Best Buy.
Yeah, you'd be better like for
No,
you,
let's
Suzette.
let's
the guy
tap on that.
probably
Why
looking
would you be
for.
nervous about that?
Because I don't want to
Great.
fight you to get off the game.
Nobody go there to game. Everybody just
Let
go
me
there
just say
to
this: the
purchase and
gaming
leave.
industry once again is
Yeah,
a
but is game life?
multi-billion-dollar
Is
industry.
game life? If you're at
People go in
GameStop?
there. People go in there to purchase and leave. I don't go in there to hang around. I go in there to purchase and leave.
Okay, it made me feel
Yeah,
like
same
that
here.
gaming was life, and I don't know if I want that in a partner.
Yeah, just because it's called GameStop doesn't mean you go into game.
So, okay, cool. All
All
right.
right. Good show.
Yeah,
Suzette.
you go there to buy
Y'all
games.
so
and
funny.
you
All right,
go there to buy
final
what you want
comment.
and leave.
Y'all, I hope we got some helpful tips.
Great feels right
And
about. Great
shout
feels
out
right
to
about
the
that one.
Go to Michael
Blurred
Center.
convention on the Suzette Speaks show. Blurred, ton up. I'm
Go to
enjoying
Michael
this.
Center. That's another hangout spot.
Sorry, I
Michael
didn't mean
Center.
to be judgy. I just wanted to figure out why. Because at GameStop, I don't know.
But I mean,
No,
Suzette, look at your
forget
panel.
GameStop. Go to Michael Center. Michael Center is meant for guys,
What? The Micro Center?
nerds.
The
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, Micro Center.
Micro Center.
Where is that?
You have to
They're
look it up,
everywhere.
but based on your area.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
Say it again. A Micro Center?
Micro
Yeah.
Center.
Michael Center. It is.
Computer parts store.
I'm
Oh.
telling you, we spend way too much time there trying to figure out when we want to get this. We go plot to get this part. We'll get
Is this an
this, or
actual
3D printer.
store?
It's an actual store.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I used to go there
Oh,
all the
Micro.
time.
Am
Yeah.
I living in America? How come I don't
Yes.
know this?
No, you actually live
Dad.
on the rock.
It's because you're a cool girl. You're not a nerd.
Yeah.
Cool girls don't know this.
Anybody, put a one in the chat if you ever heard of a Micro Center.
I
And
think
they're as big as Walmart. Some of them are as big as Walmart.
Is there one in
Or
Miami?
Best Buy. It's just here.
I think
I
there
don't
is
know.
one somewhere in South Florida. I think there is one there somewhere down there.
You have to Google it.
Put a
Suzette.
one in the
Yeah.
chat if you've ever heard of this.
I'm
This
telling you,
where
when you go
people
to a
go-
Michael Center, you see a bunch of geeks and nerds in there. Some
I
got over
feel
3D
so ashamed that
printer,
I'm so
some trying to build a
uninformed.
super
I'm
PC,
sorry, guys.
some have some weird setup.
I pride
have big
myself
Yeah,
on being
I got my
informed.
last Cat 6 Ethernet cables from Micro Center. I mean, yes,
Soccer
we do that.
balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my
Suzette,
hard
if you're
drive
looking
restored.
I'm gonna Google this. I'm gonna
If
Google
you're
this.
looking for a geek, what Better Gents just said, if you hear a guy say that,
I bought my
There
6
he is.
Ethernet cords from a Micro Center.
there he is.
Yeah, here's the thing. Check this
They
out.
know
Hey,
what it is. People know
Better-
what this is.
Better Gents and Canadian Born. Canadian Born knows this. I've had my eye on the 3090 for the longest. Do you think it's worth getting it right now, or should I wait? I found one for 1,500.
No,
Yeah.
3090.
get it before August.
All right.
People say
How
I'm
about you, Better?
canceled because I never heard of this. I don't
How
know.
about
what
you,
that
Better
is.
Gents?
I got a 3060 and it works. I mean, I can play pretty much everything that's popular right now at full scale. So I
But I mod my stuff,
Before the
mhm.
billions, you should have been up here on this panel.
especially
sir.
with this
Oh
game.
yeah,
Now's
Oh, wait, real quick.
the price is
Suzette,
down now, so it's
look
not a
at
bad time.
Canadian Born's.
Gotcha.
Look at Canadian Born's feed. That's his
No.
computer. That's his computer. Look at that. If you see a guy that got a computer like that,
Oh, I know that's a nerd. I already know. I know
He
that.
got lights and everything in it.
Yes.
That look advanced. Like it got hearing and seeing and touch and feel. Like it has
Oh,
everything.
I could do a little
But
bit more if you pay me to do it.
There you go. I
Hey.
went from a 1060 to a 3060, so it was like night and day for me. So
Oh, I
I'm
got
like
30
still like
yeah.
amazed by it. But a 3090 is probably phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you can get a
Oh,
good price,
I gotta
may as well
cook my
get it.
I
wife to
found
go
I
one
to
might do
1500.
bird watching because I'm lost. And
It's on
Suzette.
Amazon.
Find the
1500.
men who talk
On
like
Amazon,
this,
yeah.
Suzette. Find the men who talk like this, and you will find your geeks and your nerds. There
There-
it is.
clearly, I
it
need
is.
to overhear some conversation
Yeah.
at the Micro Center.
Because Suzette has no
YouTube's
clue
a
what
good
we're
place.
talking about.
What the
Nothing,
heck?
no clue.
No clue we're talking about video cards.
Did you notice I tuned out? Did you notice?
Yeah,
I
I
just
started
started
talking
reading
about
the
something
chat.
completely different.
I'm like, okay, let me just read the chat and see what I can learn. What?
We'll go
Every,
opposite where your
every
numbers.
time me and Major do that, everybody look at us like we're crazy.
Yeah, Tommy
Y'all
B
know what
just
this
everyone
is.
just stopped
I'm like,
talking when
I'm
Black and
impressed that
David and I
people know
talk
what
about
this
it.
is.
Oh yeah.
I'm
All right.
so shocked, guys. I feel like
Ace.
Yeah, we need to get Suzette a map. She lost here.
no, I don't know what to do.
And do you
I'm
know you have ladies
overwhelmed.
now
You're
building
doing the right
computers?
thing. You want to find nerds? You found 7.
No,
Like,
clearly
I
it's
mean,
been a wonderful convention.
this
They
is how
want to
you
know,
do it.
Miss Creative want to know where the muscular nerds.
In the
All
gym.
right, already told me
I
clear
think we're
where
going
they
down
at.
around different row right there.
Go to the gym, Suzette. I mean, we're in
Yeah.
gyms
No,
and everything.
I'm going to the gym. I had my trainer. I just told you I had a good workout this morning. Thank you.
At the
Okay.
beach.
I'm
They're at the
getting back
But
to the
the
beach.
gym,
They had a
ratio
only for the
skateboard.
of
sake to get my
guys,
MMA body.
it's almost It's not, it's like 4 or 5 guys and a ton of ladies.
Suzette, here's a homework assignment for you.
Okay.
Do this with men that you know, people,
Yeah.
guys that you know.
Yeah.
Write down 3 of those anime things or whatever, or 3 geek things, and go ask guys that you know, hey, have you ever heard of this, this, and this? I guarantee you, they will answer, oh yeah, and it will open the door into this world that you're in right now.
Nah,
All
brother,
right.
I got it better
Eat
for you. I
anime.
got something better for you.
Okay.
You do the same thing he just suggested, but don't just tell him what. Just say a casually conversation like, "Hey, what?" Around a bunch of guys. Hey, how's your day going? So said, "Oh man, I just watched Spring It for the first time. Loved it.
Bring it.
Spring It.
Sprig
It's
it.
it's an anime, but I'm just saying, just name 1 to 3 animes. Just if you
I'm
watch it,
gonna get some
indulge in it.
game, y'all. What?
You know what, ladies? Don't use
Sprig
this
it.
as a tactic to woo
No, we're
these
gonna get
nerds
some
and
nerds.
use
We're
and
gonna
abuse
talk
them.
about Sprig it.
Don't use this for abusing tactics. If you're looking for a
We're
real
not
man,
using it for no abuse. We
I
just
just
Well,
want
want
to
to
make
try
sure.
and at least start.
I'm trying to help us out here.
Let
We
me
just
say
need
this,
decent people with some decent values. That's what we're
Suzette.
trying
Let
to
me
do.
say this, and then I'm gonna have to go. Let me say this
Okay, and
about
y'all,
what
this
was
is
just said.
is the game over? I'm trying to get on the last quarter.
But
Thank you,
I don't-
Doug. Appreciate the love.
yeah, I'm not crazy about the
Go
game,
ahead,
but
DL.
I'll
And
say
then we're
this
doing a
about
round robin final comments. Go ahead.
ladies. I'm gonna give you a little bit of game. Most of
All
the
right.
men in the
Who need to
RP
mute
world,
so we can hear the game? Somebody mute.
I think
Black
that's
David.
Canadian born. I think that's Canadian born.
Go ahead, DL.
Just hit your mute button, brother.
I got you. Go ahead.
I'm mute.
Oh, you are okay. I don't know who it is.
Mandrell? Yes. Okay. It was Mandrell. Go ahead.
It was Mandrell. Okay, so I'm gonna say this, ladies. You think you're gonna get out there and get over on some geek dude? Understand that 99% of the RP world are geeks. These brothers are unplugged and they're learning game if they don't already know game. Like we said earlier in this show, geek game is still game. So don't think you're gonna get yourself an easy kill because you might be running up against a buzzsaw, ladies. So I'm just saying, go in there correct.
They're saying we got game, but they got game too. Okay.
Go in there correct. And thank you so much for having me on,
All right,
on the,
DL. Thank
on the
you.
show.
I'll
I gotta
see
rock.
you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming up.
Good to see you,
To
DL.
the
Man, Gerald.
nerddom. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, DL.
Salute, man.
A lot of mercy. Thank you, Doug, on the super. No comment. Just love. Appreciate it on the super chat. Final comments from my nerds. And it wasn't you, Mandrell. I think it was Vondell by accident. I blamed you. I apologize. Okay. Vondell, you want to give your final comments, sir? You can unmute now. It was a lot of background noise. If you want to give your final comments, Mr. Vondell, let me bring you up. Can you see? All right. When you're ready, let me know. Final comments. Who wants to go next? Out. Go ahead. Sorry, Canadian born Nigerian. Go ahead.
For my brother above me, better Jane, who trying to get a cat 5, I'm using cat 6, so that's much better than the cat 5. I don't know why you going out to the cat 5 if I'm doing
I
that.
thought I said cat 6.
But-
Maybe I
But
misspoke.
I
as
don't
was-
know what you're talking about.
See? I'm just saying like this. It's nothing wrong being a nerd. It's a great thing being a nerd because when you're a nerd, it opens the door to great finance in your life. For example, Jeff Bezos, the richest man on the planet. Then you have Elon Musk. He's another nerd. And we got Bill Gates. Nerds are everywhere. Either we're in IT, we're in medicine, we're any type of thing that has to do with science, technology. You build the world to make it easier for you. But don't hate on nerd guys because they can help you and bring you from the bottom to the top. Now, the one you want to avoid are the ones who stay in the mom or the grandma basement. Leave them alone. They're not another one to waste your time on.
Okay, leave the men in the basement. Okay, got you.
We call them underground nerds. The real nerds are moving a shake of society. We blend in with society. We do have swag, but we don't call it swag. We do have game, but don't be surprised what we do. I'm letting you know right now. Don't look down on nerd. When you look down on nerd, you miss out on the great thing.
No, we're not doing that. Help us, oh Lord. Okay, thank you. And that was Canadian born Nigerian. You can drop your channel in the chat. Thank you for coming up and being such an engaging guest. I appreciate you. I'll see
All
you
right.
very soon. You're welcome up anytime. Have a great night. Woo, Vondell, you ready? All right, you can unmute first, and then you can go ahead.
My thing about the nerds is like this. I mean, the nerds, because the nerds, they're just really just misunderstood. And when you push them out, they're going to build their own playground. So the real lesson of the day is don't exclude the nerds. And nerds can be very important people. They are builders. They are good, intelligent people. Not just intelligent, but they are honest people.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Vondell. I appreciate you coming through. Always a pleasure. You know you're welcome over here on the SuzetteSpeaks show anytime. Have a great night.
And I'll be having my YouTube channel soon. And here's mommy for you.
Oh, hey, Mom. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, 2 for 1 tonight. Good.
I'm
enjoying having Vondell, but I also enjoy
I'm
having
saying
you.
hello to everybody that is or is not a nerd.
Yeah.
And we're going to let you continue your session, okay?
All right. Y'all have a good night. Take care. Nice to see you. Oh, so sweet. Good night, Vondell. Bye, guys.
Good night, Susan.
All right. I love that. He's so sweet. All right. Who wants to go next? Mixmaster or the Great Pill?
I'll go ahead. Yeah, I'll go ahead. As for a nerd and looking for a nerd, always look for guys that are most resourceful. Like you see guys that you're working on cars 1 minute, working on computers another minute, creating new ways of doing things, just like Canadian Nigerian mentioned. And we're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. So it just take time and just kind of watch people, and you'll figure out who's who in the zoo. But
do nerds make good husbands, Mixmaster Miko?
Duh, yes. Thank you.
I'm just asking because DL just warned us that there's nerds out here cutting like a hacksaw or the saw blade. What did he say? So I'm just trying to make sure I understand that nerds are family men. Do you get that feeling?
Oh yeah, because I'm speaking from experience. I am. So yeah, we do make good families and stuff like that. Especially once you get to know us, and if you're married to a nerd as well.
Listen, he just said they switching up the game. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Oh no, we're good. I mean, of course they're different levels, but you don't want to mess with the crazy ones or whatnot, like the ones down in the basement. As I think it was Canadian mentioned that before. But yeah, we're out here. We're visible, but at times we can be invisible to people because you don't see. We're not flashy. We're not doing like a whole bunch of things that drawing a lot of attention. But now what we're seeing is a lot of capital being investing in nerds, like that we've seen in gaming. You see that in social media and all these startups. So all you gotta do is keep your eyes open and just observe what's going on. But yeah, we make great families.
Yeah, we at the what is it? The micro store.
Micro Center.
Micro Center. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be there. All right, thank you, Mixmaster Miko. Appreciate you.
Oh, no problem to that. No problem.
Always a pleasure having y'all on. Y'all making me laugh at myself. This is interesting, guys. I like bringing you topics that are interesting to me. Tonight was very interesting to me.
Yeah, don't forget your passport when you try to get Nerdville, though.
I know I ain't trying. I'm just trying to take notes. Yeah, Mr. Quincy Person, nice to see you. Most are loyal because they ain't got no time for things outside of their hobby. Same thing says Kimo. Nerds are loyal and they stay too busy to be a player. Hallelujah. All right, we in the right ballpark. Miss Masmiko, have a great night. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you soon. Take care. Say hi to the missus. All right, good night. Oh, wow. Learned a lot. Ladies and gents, did you learn something tonight? I have. I definitely have. Go ahead, the Gray Pill, and then Mandrell, and then Better Gents.
Sure. Again, I appreciate opportunity being on the show. The brother said it earlier and said it best. Nerds are everywhere. If ladies have to ask those questions, where are they? Where are they? The same way men be like, where are the good women at? Where are the good women at? So again, it's a back and forth. You just have to vet properly, have the conversation, be aware of the man that if your intent is for exclusive relationship and marriage, be aware the same way men have to be socially aware of the women that we want and how we approach you. Because women, like Miss Suzette just gave him the perfect example. I don't want to go on GameStop, a little bit
Leave me
awkward
in
there.
GameStop alone, okay? I had bad experience. I just didn't think that's where good people spend a
But
lot
see,
of time.
but you're speaking everything from a female perspective on that nature. So again, we're not faulting you for it. We're just letting the guys know on the outside perspective viewers, this is where, as far as the dating realm goes. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
again, for the
Don't make
women,
assumptions. Don't be judgy. I got
no,
it.
yeah, exactly. So again, for the women out there, if that's what you're looking for, take the time out to vet properly. And I will tell the ladies a little secret, little trick, but it will backfire on you. Wear some little geek outfits like a Superman shirt or Zelda shirt or those Supergirl Power Girls or something like that, right? That might get them interest and say, hey, how you doing? Nice shirt. But the backfire is if you don't know anything about it, they're gonna kind of look at you red
That's gonna be my
flags.
problem. I go and buy a couple of them shirt, but then as soon as they ask me, I'm gonna be like, "Oh my god, I love your shirt. Tell me about your shirt," and I'm gonna just try to flip it because I'm not gonna be able to manage the conversation clearly. So
Exactly.
I'm gonna ask DL to give me a list of stuff I need to watch, or at least know the cultural references to, so I can join the club a little bit more, and maybe find a successful nerd.
Yes, but just don't use that power for evil. That's how I would say to ladies.
No, we're not gonna run no game. No,
All right, I gotta look after my fellow geeks and nerds out there. We got feelings.
No, this is not a user kind of scenario we're looking for. So thank you. 90, almost 100. Appreciate the likes, y'all. Great Pill Podcast. We got to do a collab. When you want to come on the show?
Anytime. You let me know.
I saw you had a good topic that I was like, we could run it back. I DM'd
one was
you.
that?
You never responded on Insta. I don't know if you don't check Insta.
I'm probably the first one who actually didn't see Insta because I'm always on my social media.
You didn't see Insta? I did
No,
DM
ma'am.
you though. Great Pill. I'm telling no lie. Let me just make sure I'm not telling no lie. Great Pill Podcast. No, but there I saw you had done a show, and then I was like, I want to run that same. Is that copying if I asked to do the same title again? Because I saw.
I'm not like fresh and fit. I'm not gonna come at you, folks.
But I saw a different take. How come I can't find it?
I just left my Instagram in a private chat, so it's called Wear the Crown Well. Everything's my link and stuff is on the Facebook. My link, so Spotify.
The Gray Pill Podcast on Insta is not you?
No, that was something that somebody's made to try to help out.
Okay, that's where I sent it. So
correct.
What's
so
your
that's
Insta?
Not me. It's called Wear the Crown Well.
So should I unsend this and not be in this random?
Sure.
And you can follow. I sent that to you Sunday. Okay. And I was like, oh, he don't want to do no collab. Oh, okay. So good things get lost in communication, guys. So
but just to help everybody a little bit more easily, if you click on the YouTube, the Gray Pill Podcast, all my links is right there. Instagram, Facebook, emails, all
so
that good
take
stuff.
down the Insta. That's not you.
That's somebody that did something. Yeah, that's somebody that did something personally to help out.
So people can send you random DMs that you're never going to answer. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then I'll look out for your real Insta. And we'd love to do a collab. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming and setting some fire and then calming down. I appreciate you. Good night. All right. Have a good one, the Gray Pill Podcast. All right, Mandra, what are your final thoughts on tonight?
Final thoughts, ladies. Just don't reject nerds. I mean, and now you have, women claiming they want nerds, but and they're like, where are they? We're like, we're everywhere. Like Miss Creative said, we're all the nerds that have nice bodies. And like, we're in the gym. I'm there all the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're everywhere. You just talk to a guy, you find that he's a nerd. Just because he's a nerd doesn't mean he's a good person either. You still got to vet him. He may not have the swagger that you want or dress the way you want him to, but he'll treat you well, very well. And most of us are family men. Most of us are looking to start a family. So, just don't reject the nerds. That's all right. Literally all you've ever had to do.
That's a word. We got to vet still. Hallelujah.
Yeah, you still have to vet.
He's a nerd. He doesn't mean he's responsible.
Doesn't mean he's a good person. Yeah, because like you say, you might get the ones that's in the basement. You don't want that one.
Or staying in GameStop for an excessive amount of time. If you're in and out, I get it. If you're in and out, okay, fine. Mandrell will be a guest on the 25th with Shoo. Can't wait to have you. We are gonna prepare. I'm really liking the topic. We're not gonna tell them. They're gonna have to hit subscribe and thank you, Ghost Watchers, and they're gonna have to hit notification bell Thank you, Ghost Watchers. And you gonna come through with your sister and do some
Yeah.
work. So I can't wait to have you on. Thank you for being here tonight
Thank you for having
and
me.
adding to my nerddom, I guess.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Have a great night. See
Thank
you
you.
soon.
You
Awesome.
too.
Always
Thanks,
a
Mandro.
pleasure. All right,
Nice meeting you,
Manjo,
better
talk to you
gents.
soon.
Nice
Thank
meeting you
you
too,
so
man.
You leave your information in the
much.
back chat for me.
Okay.
What you
Yeah,
said?
I'll
Better gents. I'd leave his email or something in the back
I'll
chat
throw
so
it
Oh
I
out
yeah,
there.
they want
get
to
in
get
contact with him.
it. Yeah, okay, drop you down. Better gents, we went a little bit longer than I promised, but
All
thank you for
good.
hanging in there. Hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed. What are your final thoughts on the secret lives of Black nerds?
Yeah. So first off, I want to say thank you for having me. This was awesome. Really appreciate it. And so you asked a question: Do nerds make good husbands? And
Mm,
I think the answer to that is probably yes. And the reason why is because nerds are natural builders, right? We're forward thinkers. We think about things not in the present, but what they can be and how we can improve the current situation. Nerds are very curious intellectually. We're not always the smartest people. Like being a nerd doesn't automatically mean you're smarter than anyone else. But we're very curious. We tend to be forward thinkers and we tend to be builders. And so in that regard, we would typically make great husbands, providers. My biggest goal in life is generational wealth, building generational wealth, and leaving something to the next generation. So I'm going to plant seeds that I might never see grow, and that's fine to me, because I know that the next generation is going to be better off for it, whether it's my children or my children's children or whatever. But I think looking to the future and knowing that you're going to leave some sort of lasting legacy beyond what it is that you do today is very important. And nerds are the people who tend to do that. Look at Elon Musk, look at Jeff Bezos. Those guys are forward thinkers. Their legacies are going to live into the next, century, the next millennia, whatever it is. And so in that regard, I think we do make good husbands. Now, if you want a guy who's, is a tough guy, you want a guy who's you're gonna feel like safe under all the time. Maybe you need that. Maybe you need a different kind of guy. But as like
you want to be a tough
providers,
guy?
as providers and like forward thinkers and ensuring that you're going to have a great life going forward and that our kids are going to be well taken care of. I think nerds we do that for sure.
I love it. He said probably yes. So there is never a perfect panacea. There's never a perfect
Never.
human being. We're not going to pretend all nerds are built the same, are created equal. So all people are human. So we got to do our vetting. We're not going to say one group of people is better than another, but
Agreed.
it's more likely that they may possess some of the qualities that a lot of women would deem as desirable. So I
Later in
appreciate
life.
later in life. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yes. After the maturity, after the wake up, after the whole okay, all of that. Better Gents. Y'all see why he is so popular and the podcast is so popular. Him and the crew do a lot of great work over there. So I'm gonna ask you to subscribe. I'm gonna take a point of personal privilege. Chemo, you have 30 seconds. If you really do want to come up, you alone, I just dropped the link just because you're talking that smack in the comments, and I'm not sure if you want to add an Illuminus for 30 seconds. But he's like, it's a lot of smack, a lot of smoke in the comments. So if you would like, I'll give you 30 seconds, sir, and you can come on in. But Better Gents is available to, I guess, collab if you
Sure.
want, guys. So go over to his channel and support. That's what it's about. Collaboration here. Kimo, I really want to pick your brain, sir. If you want to come up, I'm giving you 15 more seconds, sir. I gotta watch the last quarter. But we got a lot of smoke in the in the chat. But I just feel, I don't know about you guys, I feel a lot more enlightened. Maybe you guys were already enlightened, but okay, thank you guys for enlightening me. I will be at the micro center. I will be trying to get a new laptop soon anyway. So appreciate you guys. The world class said it best. The nerds are about to rule the world. Better make friends. I hear you. And so much more. Quincy say they want a nerd until they got a nerd out. No, if that's the least I have to do, 100%. Decent, loyal provider, leader, protector. That's all we need. We don't. That's plenty actually. I can figure it out. You guys, you talking about you will be attending. You guys are so funny. Bring it back up. I love it. You guys are so funny. The chat is undefeated. Thank you, everyone who watched tonight. If you are a team replay, hit the like button. Thank you so much to my moderators. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Sunbreeze. Thank you, RM. Thank you to all the ladies and gents who made this such an incredible show tonight. I did not know which direction we were going to go in, and we went in a lot. World class is telling me the nerds think poly really? I don't think so. You just trying to create smoke. We ain't trying to create smoke. Nerds don't party like the ladies like to party. That might be the issue. That right there might actually be the issue. But
Casamigos over here. Come on.
Yeah, right. He's like, wait, I can hang
all night.
I love it. Better Gents needs to return with nerd swag. He should return. Yes, I'd love to have you back.
I will be back.
So. This is, I mean, there's so much more we could talk about. You know that. So I'd love to have you back. Cheers, Better Gents. You can bring up your stuff. I'll bring up my little ginger tea.
Yes.
Cheers to a wonderful show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chemo, I'll catch you next time. Y'all have a great night. Hit the like button. Blessings to everybody. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, see, you have some fans here that has been talking about how much swag you got. I know what y'all doing, but we believe in unity. Hallelujah. We believe in you.
I'm single. So
let's go. You guys are so funny. Anyway, hit the like button, go subscribe. And again, if you're not subscribed here, you already know. Hit the like and subscribe. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you soon. Thanks for a great show. Have a great night.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Bye-bye.